Welcome to the Situation Room of Television Nigerian, coming to you live from our studios in the Guzape Hills, Abuja. On this platform, we'll be bringing you up to speed with events, happenings and updates in and around Nigeria and elsewhere in the world as the battle against the novel coronavirus, codenamed COVID-19, we all know about it now, continues globally. It is the second day of the lockdown of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, alongside Lagos and Ogun State, as directed by President Muhammadu Buhari in his State of the Nation address on the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria on Sunday, the 30th day of March 2020. Now, how has the people of Nigeria been holding up? What is the situation like in the Federal Capital City, in Lagos, and in every other places affected by this viral outbreak? What measures are in place by the government and its apparatus in containing the spread? By the presidency, which this presidency has rightly described as a very dangerous situation. Now, these are some of the issues we'll be spotlighting on the Situation Room right here. Welcome on board. I am Charles Ibe. And with me in the studio for the Situation Room, I have Comrade Daniel Atai. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Ibe.
And I also have May 11.
Thank you, Mr. Ibe.
Yeah, gentlemen, you're welcome to the Situation Room.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we'll be taking a very short break right now. Please don't go anywhere. We'll come back and we'll go straight to the issues at hand. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It is the Situation Room on Television Nigeria. And like I just said, it is no longer news about the coronavirus. We all know it has claimed a lot of lives globally. And in Nigeria, we have 2 fatalities. We have 139 cases and counting. Now, in just 30 seconds, Mr. May.
Yes, sir.
What is your overview of the situation in Nigeria?
Well, I would say if we had a proper plan fixed in place for things like this, because you don't have to wait till something happens before you learn that you are supposed to find a way to sort things out. If we had proper plan that people whose work is to think for the furtherance of the nation, I think when they had the rumor or if the story had broken that there was a virus like that, before we even recorded a case in Nigeria, we should have already had an idea of how to go about it.
Okay, so in a nutshell, we aren't planned for the situation.
We are not that ready for it. Not the people, the citizens, not the leaders.
Both are all guilty as charged.
Yes, we cannot blame someone, we can't point fingers. If you look at it today, people are saying, I was told to stay at home, but I do not have food. I was told to buy food, but I do not have money. So you now start thinking, what exactly is happening? If you look at If you look at the program that took place recently, where we had the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19,
yes.
They had a media conference, and the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, good, that's the
Minister
person
for
of
Health.
Health.
Minister for Health.
No, for Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay.
Sadia
Omar.
Farouk.
Okay, she made a statement. She said that they were making plans and arrangements for money to be given to the poorest of persons. Now the question is, was there a scale of measurement that was done before now? Was there a research that was taken? Is there some hypotheses that have been known that they're going to use to do this? How do you quantify, how do you qualify poorest?
Yeah, before now there was a database on the poor Nigerians, not for the situation of the COVID-19.
Yes,
when we are talking about the SIPs and all of that, there were plans on ground. They had measurements, they had parameters of measuring poor households in Nigeria. But we will get back to that. So now, Mr. Daniel, your overview of the whole situation. Mr. May said Nigerians were not prepared for this.
No.
So what do you think?
The situation has, brought us to open up some wounds of unpreparedness in the fact that in this part of the world, particularly the African continent, let me take that overview, a general overview for the African continent in that perspective, that we are actually a kind of a dependent continent on the world powers that be. Talking about, we depend on Europe, America, and now Asia. Largely the Asian continent, which China has spearheaded as a leader of the world today, not only Asia anymore. The issue of the pandemic, we were actually, as a young scientist, we were pre-warned. We were warned before now. We had several, expose towards COVID-19. Probably not the name COVID, but the structure that this virus is going to come and is going to be a pandemic, a global pandemic. We were pre-warned. And as a government of Africa, we actually not, because of our technological base and strength, we are not scientifically inclined to a kind of forecast what to do, what is coming, and then to proactively prevent the consequences of what may come.
Largely because we are dependent on the West.
Largely because we are dependent, not only because we are dependent, it is also an attitude thing that we are actually not willing sometimes to, to be proactive. We like the reactive aspect of lifestyle. When something happens, we don't plan ahead. Even our budget, everything about us, we don't plan. Africa is in that state, is in that quagmire. And it is a bizarre thing to know. Because if you look at the global perspective and preparation towards COVID-19 from 2015, where even Bill Gates gave this warning that a structural-like pandemic is going to break out worldwide and is going to consume millions of lives. But while the Asian continent, part of Europe are preparing for this pandemic, Africa is just waiting for...
But we're not really prepared, because if you look at it right now, it's affecting them more than it's even affecting Africa.
Yeah, let me tell you, actually they prepared a bit, because Bill Gates is there. He co-founded what is happening now. I will go into it.
That's an allegation.
It's an allegation on the theoretical aspect of it, the conspiracy theory, because how did he come to know? Yeah. He warned the whole world about it, and then he projected about $30 billion, for vaccination and so on to prepare ahead. So how did he come to know? And now the thing has come. So has he been affected? Okay. If he has not been affected, what is the preventive or proactive measure he took? Okay, in China, it happened in Wuhan. We have the city of Beijing and other cities that were not affected. What were the measures taken that it didn't escalate? So coming to Africa, what do? It has come to stay. And if it has come, we said it is a contagious virus. A contagious virus, which means it moves from persons to persons. Yeah. The persons to persons are the vectors.
Yes, the mobility of the virus.
Yes, so the essence of staying at home is because if the vector is not moving, the virus will not move. That is why they say stay at home and probably the virus will die in 14 days.
All right, Mr. Dan, you have to hold that.
All right.
Jump the gun and all of that.
Exactly.
So we have been talking about that. You've been giving us your overviews. Largely, May, you said we weren't prepared.
We weren't prepared.
And you taking it broader, the whole African
continent. The whole African continent.
Weren't prepared. But what we do know right now is that we have a situation at hand. And we are here in a situation to analyze and also possibly to profile solutions. You have to stay tuned right now, because we will go to our news desk to bring you up to speed with the news update. And when we come back, we will continue to analyze the situation. COVID-19 pandemic. Stay tuned. Here are some news updates at this time for Wednesday, the 1st day of April 2020. Nigeria has recorded 4 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 139. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, said 3 of the cases were from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, while 1 case was recorded in Lagos State, making it a total of 139 confirmed cases in Nigeria, with 9 victims discharged and 2 recorded fatalities. So far, Lagos State has recorded 82 cases, Federal Capital Territory has 28 cases, Oyo State has 8 cases, Osun State 5, Ogun State 4, Kaduna State 3 cases, Edo, Enugu and Bauchi states have 2 cases each, while Ekiti, Rivers and Benue states have 1 case of the virus each. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, said COVID-19 disease outbreak has roundly exposed the weakness of Nigeria's health system. The Speaker, while commending the efforts of the federal government in both managing the outbreak and alleviating the adverse economic and social impact on all citizens, further stated that the country must develop a system to withstand health crisis the way it occurs in the future. The Speaker, while commending the efforts of the federal government in both managing the outbreak and alleviating the adverse economic and social impact on the citizens, further stated that the country must develop a system to withstand health crises that might occur in the future. Gbajabiamila said that the lawmakers, in every way they could, would continue to support the efforts to ensure that Nigerians make it through the difficult time with dignity and peace of mind, and announced the readiness of the lower chambers to give up its 2 months' pay in support of the fight against the further spread of the coronavirus. The United Nations in Nigeria on Tuesday declared that it is taking emergency preparedness and response measures to mitigate the spread of coronavirus to the most vulnerable crisis-affected people in Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states. The United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Edward Callon, stated that the measures are to address immediate humanitarian consequences of the coronavirus pandemic should it spread to the northeast Nigeria. He further stated that the agency's priority is to ensure the continuous delivery of life-saving assistance, especially health services, to the most vulnerable women, children and the elderly who need special attention, having already suffered from the decade-long conflict in the troubled region. In a bid to further contain the spread of the COVID-19, the federal government said it had concluded arrangements to convert tuberculosis diagnostic machines in the country to coronavirus detecting machines, as retired health workers recalled by the federal government to assist in combating the disease reported for duties. Minister of Health Osage Ehanire, who made this known at a press briefing held by the Presidential Task Force on Coronavirus to update the nation of the state of coronavirus outbreak in the country, said the 300 gene expert machines used for tuberculosis would be converted to testing COVID-19 detection. Government action came following the increasing number of persons infected with the virus, currently put at 139, while the gene expert machines were expected to be put to use within the next 2 to 3 weeks. The minister further revealed that the Center for Disease Control has engaged hundreds of ad hoc staff to support call centers, contact tracing and laboratory work, adding that preparations were in full gear for about 1,000 beds in Abuja to be used immediately as isolation centers if the need arises. Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has suspended the payment of the new electricity tariffs earlier scheduled to take off from the first day of April, citing poor electricity supply, wide metering gap and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The Commission stated that from the public hearings conducted prior to the tariff review, it was obvious that the electricity end users of the 11 distribution companies were willing to pay appropriate rates for services rendered by the DISCOs. The Commission said the willingness of customers to pay do not depend on improvement promises by the DISCOs that were never implemented in previous tariffs review, where the end-use customers had voiced their dissatisfaction with the quality of services provided by the DISCOs and the practice of estimated and sometimes arbitrary billing. NEC also noted that the global COVID-19 had significantly impacted on the availability of imported components for local assembly of meters for supply to end-use customers under the Commission's meter asset provider regulations and rollout plans for the existing stock, and the adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the global economy and the average Nigerian. That's the news update at this time. Thanks for watching. I am Charles Ibe.
In a bid to contain the further spread of the coronavirus pandemic, we are here to talk about proper hand hygiene, which is one of the handy preventive measures. My name is Elvis Oga, and you are watching APR Health Tips on on African Patriot Radio. You can follow us and like our page on our social media platforms at African Patriot Radio. Hand hygiene is the act of or practice of cleaning hands for the purpose of removing soil, dirt, grease and microorganisms, and this can be achieved by hand washing with soap and water and also the use of hand sanitizers. So let's dish out the proper ways hands should be washed and the proper ways hand sanitizers should be used. For hand washing, it is advisable we follow these steps every time. Wet your hands with clean running water, warm or cold, and apply soap. Lather your hands by rubbing them together with the soap. Lather the back of your hands between your fingers and under your nails. Scrub your hands for at least 20 seconds. Need a timer? Okay, let me give you one. Hum the happy birthday song from beginning to end twice, like happy birthday, there you go. Rinse your hands well under clean running water. Dry your hands using a clean towel or air dry them. And for hand sanitizers, laboratory studies from Center for Disease Control and Prevention show alcohol-based sanitizers made from 60% ethanol and 70% isopropanol are able to inactivate viruses genetically related to COVID-19. These alcohol-based sanitizers are simple and convenient to use. They are often easy to find as well. However, the effectiveness of these sanitizers when used is based on several factors ranging from product to quantity to proper technique and consistency. To use hand sanitizers correctly, place the recommended amount from the manufacturer's direction in the palm of one hand. Rub your hands together, covering your entire hand, including between your fingers. Stop rubbing in the sanitizers only once your skin is dry. Do this frequently. It is important to note, since sanitizers are alcohol-based, it is advisable to keep them out of reach of children because their intake could be harmful to one's health. Before we wrap it up, let's quickly take a look at the proper and correct ways of using face masks, since they could come handy during this period. Colored side out if you are sick and do not want to spread the germs around. Faint side, this is the filter part for when you are not sick and you want to stop the germs from getting in. I hope you find this helpful. I'm Elvis Oga. Let's endeavor to adhere to the tips. Keep watching APR Exclusive and stay safe.
Welcome back. It is still the Situation Room on Television Nigerian. Just to let you know that we will be linking up with some of our correspondents that are out there in the field. We have some in Makodi, we have in Jos, we have someone in the United Kingdom who is going to be giving us a situation report on how the COVID-19, which has ravaged the world so far, is being handled in all of these places. And also we have someone also here that will bring us up to speed with what is happening somewhere around us here in the Federal Capital Territory, which has entered the second day of the lockdown over COVID-19 infection. Now, still in the studio with me, gentlemen, Daniel Atai and May 11. We just saw some things on the news about how COVID-19 is actually taking over everything. It's all about COVID-19 now. No time for politics, no time for whatever. The key thing now is staying alive. You are breathing and you are breathing well, because one of the symptoms of COVID-19 is difficulty in breathing. Now, given all this information about this disease that is out there, yesterday we heard the president say it is a very dangerous situation that we have at hand. Would you say all these things are giving rise to the fear factor in the handling of this, the way this outbreak is being handled in Nigeria? Is there an element of fear in the people about this whole thing?
Well, to a large extent, there is this fear that people have. Most people were having the problem of not being briefed on time, because most people said they expected the president to have said something about it. And it led to them even having the thought that there was more to how unprepared we were than met the eye or the ears heard. So when he came out, like in his statement, the speech he gave, most people are trying to pick out points. They're still trying to pick out points to what is he driving at. And at the end, when it ended with the same preventive measures and talking about the shutdown, more questions were asked. People now started looking at the financial state of the economy. And when you look at that, you now know why we're saying it seemed like we were not prepared. So that lack of preparedness also led to fear. People forgot the fact about the COVID-19 now, and we're looking at the fear of what will happen if I'm trapped at home. To the point we have people who now say, I do not even fear the COVID-19. I fear not having what to eat. I heard of a certain block industry owner who said, if it's out there, let it just catch me.
That's it.
But I'd rather go out there and find food to eat.
Yeah.
So not eating is also a new disease. For those who are suffering from chronic ulcer, peptic ulcer and all, they would be thinking, how do I eat?
Before the COVID-19 comes, they would have died.
All right, looking at they said it's a very dangerous situation we have at hand. But looking at it critically, is COVID-19 that deadly? Look at the number of people affected globally and look at the number of fatalities. There's a far gap in between. So would you rightly say it's a very deadly disease? And should anybody be afraid? Done.
Yeah, you see, if you look at the structure of how it came, the fear alone makes it very deadly. And if you were with us in the studio the other day, I asked the medical doctor that came, I said, we are like shying away from what is COVID-19. How did it come? What led to it? Is it a biological or chemical, or is it from the space? No. It is one thing to know what is actually wrong with you so that you could deal with it. If you look at the situation in the world now, it's like a quagmire where people are treating symptoms of malaria, symptoms of lung infection, symptoms that we usually have already. But the rate at which it killed in Wuhan, the death rate in Spain and in Italy will tell you vividly that something is wrong. Something is not being told. Something is actually hidden from us. There is this general conspiracy, if you like, call it conspiracy theory, like you said. However, we know that from the statements so far from Bill Gates to Trump and some others who are world leaders in the world power nation, I'm beginning to sense that it is a quantum war. It's a quantum war for supremacy, a war for economic dominance, a war for political dominance and security dominance rather than the virus itself. And that is a technological warfare rather than biological warfare. It is the effect of the technological warfare that we are seeing. Now I'll get back to that.
All right,
in the
so
long run.
okay.
So it is dangerous.
It's very, very dangerous.
It is fatally dangerous, especially for people who are within that space of the race. Remember, in 1918, from history, there is this radioactive element that emanated from the installation of the aviation radar and normal radio frequencies, and it caused death. It led to what we call Spanish flu, Chinese flu. It also emanated from China. A lot of people died in Spain, and then it is technological installation that brought that. Because in the molecular structure of the world, matters, like the simple definition, anything that has space, have mass, occupy space, and so on. But it goes beyond that. In quantum, it goes beyond normal having space. It has to do now with ions. It has to do with molecules.
You are taking us to class.
Because the root cause of what this COVID-19 is.
Yeah, just hold your stream of thought in the root cause. We are going to get into the theories, the theories all about
Theories,
it, the science of it and whatnot. But now we are looking at the situation as it is right now. Okay, Mr. May.
Yes.
Like I was still talking about the fear factor.
Yes.
We've had issues of people now. If you have a common cold, or if you have flu, if you have catarrh, once you sneeze, everybody is taking off like you have come with the demon.
But that can be fixed. It can be looked at the point where in a nation, Africa as a whole, where Nigeria's policy is like looked at as Africa's policy. Now, Nigeria in itself is a place where we are still fighting things like people being stereotyped. We're fighting people being ostracized, where people don't feel like they march in. This is where we have people who say, because I'm not part of a government, the government is not working.
Yes.
This is where we have people who say, oh, this is what's happening, don't sneeze around me. I know when people came up with the preventive measure, when they started sensitizing people about preventive measures of COVID-19 and symptoms, and I asked the question, I said, don't tell someone that if you are having dry cough and sneezing. The question is, how often are you having this dry cough and sneezing?
And what about other symptoms? It's not just about coughing and sneezing. There's some other symptoms associated with
it. It has to even, like they said, we contracted through touching somebody who is already infected, and then droplets from the person's who is coughing, who is an infected person coughing, the droplet from his mouth, and peradventure you touch your mouth, your eyes, it penetrates, it makes it seems biological, but ions too and molecules work that way, because molecules are two atoms, for instance, two separate atoms that are head bound by one probably covalent bond. Now, it's in our system. We are in a state of matter too.
So we all have this virus in our system.
Yeah, no, the virus, the contagious nature is that when one action of an element, just like, for instance, if it is a gamma ray effect that is causing this from Wuhan, because I heard that about 2,500 died within 2 hours.
In Wuhan?
In Wuhan.
Was it reported?
Was
it reported?
It was reported live on the very day it broke out.
2,500
2,500 dead immediately, and they say, what is killing people this way? And then the Chinese government quickly rushed into action, built hospital within a week, structured and started.
That was a 48-hour hospital.
You understand? They have to. So anything that has that capacity to killing within that range, if it is not biological, if it is not chemical, if it is not, I get it. So now, the fundamental truth, if it is known, then we will know how contagious this spread will be. Whether within distance and within time, within space, it will drop low. The frequency will come down. And then we will have to know whether the frequency is within that of light.
All right. Now, when this outbreak came, I was one of the guilty parties that believed this is the foreign thing.
It's going to remain there.
They just said 2 people, 1 case, 2 cases. I was like, Africa, we're going to get over it. Our weather is hot. The virus cannot survive here and all of that. But before you know it, here we are, hundreds and counting. Now,
it can even go further. Now, because it can go further.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't go further.
But it might not be that fatal, since we are not in that geographical space of that launch.
But it is spreading.
It is spreading.
And at an exponential rate, it is spreading. Now, I was going to ask, still talking about the virus, how it affects us and how we see it, so to speak.
Yes.
Now, we talked about testing, get tested, test centers, isolation, quarantine, and all of that, what the NCDC is doing and all of that. Now, who should actually go for test? Now, if I have a headache, I sneeze, I should run to NCDC and say, come and test me, do I have coronavirus? And then I have not really heard from what we see, it appears like someone told me yesterday, it is a big man's disease. So how do we begin to take all of this?
You can imagine how people are even thinking.
Well, the thing is this, back in the days, we said it was football and entertainment that brought us together. Yes. They say when it comes to football, people do not even care what religion, who belongs to.
Exactly.
But the world has been brought together today
By COVID-19.
by COVID-19. It is not fun. It is not a party. Instead, you are brought together to be socially distant from each other. That is the part of it that is ironic.
So now we should be surviving apart, not
We're
together.
surviving apart. But when you look at when they say who should go for a test, there are many things involved. There are many symptoms that you must have shown before you can say, I am going for test. Now, you could be with someone. I know of a staff of mine who complained of having cold and catarrh. Now, the next thing is, you would not hear a verbal cue, but you can read non-verbal cue. For one person is already showing facial expression like, I don't think I'm safe here anymore. What happens to someone who has been battling with pneumonia? This will lead to people now going to do self-medication, because you're thinking, if I go to the hospital, if I go to my local pharmacy, the first thing that will come to their mind is, oh, he has pneumonia or she has pneumonia. What is it? That's a stereotyping angle. Now, when they now tell people stay at home, there are those people who still feel they are being stereotyped or ostracized, because what they now start saying is, you are trying to keep us at home, we don't have food, you have food at home.
Which is the reality.
And this could lead to another thing, high rate in crime. This is just 2 days. And if you were following most of the news covered around, you find people who are complaining, I have no food to eat, I don't know where to go. There are people who are just telling you outrightly, I will run mad staying at home. It's psychologically draining. Depression will set in.
Okay.
A lot of truth will be revealed. Some people going out saves them a whole lot of problems.
Yes.
But now being in one place, you're facing that elephant in the room. So this too leads you to now say, I have to either, what do you call it, fight or flight. Now you can't flight because you can't go out.
All right.
So we now have cases arising from those who are now doing the women violating women, beating women. Why? You can't just find a place to
go
and
out
cool off.
Exactly.
So there's just a whole lot. The psychological angle of the whole fear. The fear is becoming psychological because now you're even scared of someone coughing.
Okay,
You're
now,
scared of giving someone a ride.
Exactly. We are scared about everything. That's the fear factor that we mentioned at the beginning. Okay, now, also, in line with this handling this COVID-19 situation, like I still asked about the NCDC, the call centers and all of that. Who should call an NCDC official? Who should, like, I saw in one of the clips, maybe we're still going to see it.
Yes.
Some people were putting is it a kind of temperature gauge on, and I asked,
Yeah.
okay, if your temperature is high, what's going to happen? Are you going to take me to quarantine and all of that? So,
They'll ask you to-
at what point should one go for a test? And I saw an analysis before that said, okay, I think it was from the Minister for Communication. It was on live television. It was saying, if you've come in contact with an index case, if you just return from some of these countries that that high rate of the disease,
virus,
then you should isolate
Yourself.
first. Then after some time, if you notice symptoms, then you should probably place those calls. But now you have those numbers going viral everywhere. Please call this number, and then anybody that has headache is now calling. How do you think this situation can be handled?
Okay, let me tell you something here. That shows the level at which this thing exposed us, especially our preparedness
And our health sector.
and our health sector, health facility. In fact, our politics around governance that we have been saying, we haven't even got out of the basic amenity that the Nigerian people want. And not only Nigerians, Africa as a whole have that problem. And that is why you see people trooping out to Europe and America. And when we get there, we even look better. We get better equipped. And when we come home, we don't seem to, reciprocate, because the system wouldn't allow you to reciprocate what you have learned there. We have the potentiality. We have people, politicians who are willing, political willingness, who have that wherewithal, ideological politicians who should drive our country for us. But the situation of this bureaucracy in our politics, where if it is not sentimentally placed, it is religiously placed. If it is not religiously placed, it is mediocrity. And we continue on and on. The list is endless.
Yeah, right.
And that is the situation that we have been caught up with. It's like in a web now. And if we are to die, let me tell you, I may not sound that way. But from what I am saying, if we do not get what to prevent, what to vaccinate, and the contagiousness of this thing continue, then a lot of people will be waiting for that.
All right.
And let me also say again, if you are to call the Nigerian Center, the National Center for Disease Control, they ask you to call. How many people are using the telephone already, especially at the rural areas? How many? And then let us also ask the frequency of our providers, namely Etisalat, MTN, Econet, Globacom. How have they covered the space in the country? I get what I'm saying.
So, in a nutshell, what you're saying that we have a situation.
We have a terrible situation
that even
this lockdown, stay at home is not the solution. I think what the government, while it is partly a solution so that it will not spread, the vector will not, carry the disease from one place to the other, we should also look at how we could secure, like my brother said, my co-discussant here said, hunger alone could kill even before the coronavirus arrives.
We will get to the palliatives when we got to the palliative measures that the government have put. But then, still talking about these emergency situations,
yes,
how to handle it, Mr. May, what would you advise? So that the center doesn't get overwhelmed by unnecessary calls. I just have a headache and I'm calling because I'm scared.
Actually, they reply you. They reply you once. They tell you, how do you feel? I have called them before.
You did?
Yes, I did. And I try to investigate how responsive they will be. They say, press 1 if it is COVID-19. Press 2 if it is, you understand, if you want to speak to NCDC. Now, you press the appropriate one that is relating to you.
And from that experience, are you satisfied that that center is functional and Nigerians can...
Well, as for the call, yes, it's functional. But the response, a rapid response is what I have not, tested, because what I told them, I was feeling dizzy, and that could be as a result of fatigue from work.
Well, you were calling the center for coronavirus.
To test them, to test the ability, because I have to do investigations so that I'll be able to report. And I think I can say they responded quickly. Press 1 if it is an issue of COVID-19, like that. Again, the issue of responding rapidly to pick a patient is where the problem is.
They may not have the facility.
They may not have that facility to respond to you where you are. They may only ask you to isolate yourself that they are coming. Okay. Isolate yourself for now that they are coming. We don't know whether they care about if this thing could kill you that moment.
All right, Mr. May.
Yes.
Look, from what he said, would you advocate, for one, to isolate first for 2 weeks or thereabout?
2 weeks.
And then if symptoms persist or it's escalating, before you call the NCDC, or just having any feeling, you just place a call. He just did an investigative journalism and he found that, okay, it's actually responsive. But things like this, coming from somebody that is just scared or having the fear factor, could overwhelm that center. What do you think?
Yes. Now, the problem is putting your country first. Most of the problem, like if you ask me what is the problem today, is because people don't put their countries first. Now, when you put your country first, you know very well that this thing is built to save the people, the inhabitants, those who are citizens of your country. When people now, because we know people who will just get the lines and start calling for no reason. Now, when you keep calling, you're going to be hindering the network from people who really need to make that call. Now, they can't make that call. If they now isolate themselves, like they say they self-isolate now, you would find out most people stay at home and start feeling, if I now tell them I have this thing, they are going to take me to this hall, and they hear stories, because there are some people whose work is to spread stories. They've not been to the centers, but they tell you, oh, there's only one ventilating machine there. If you go there, they just keep you there. They do nothing. Didn't you watch the man on news who said his wife is not being cared for? And you now start getting scared. Next thing, what do? They now tell you, just go back to the village, try some herbal medicine. You know, these are people. Now you have things you're taking that are not clinically tested. Someone is running a trial on you.
Yes.
The person gets infected. The person passes it. So the spread just continues. What I feel, first off, is they have already laid down the symptoms. You would notice. Within a period of time, if you notice that you're having a cough, treat your cough.
And if it persists,
see a doctor. That's why every medication they tell you, if symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
Yes. So instead of calling NCDC, call your doctor.
Have you tried to treat yourself first?
Okay.
You had a cold. Have you checked in with your local doctor?
Like Tokwe Fachua will say on the stage the other day, he said, in this part of the world, we have medicine stores all over. We have pharmaceutical stores, and people can easily go. You can tell a pharmacist you want this, they can sell to you. Unlike Europe, America, where it has to be prescribed for you.
In fact, they go through diagnosis.
They have to go through diagnosis. So even if they are dying, they can't just afford to buy drugs from the counter or from the pharmacy or from the patent medicine store.
If you're looking at it again, there's another part of this thing. Like I said, putting the country first. There are people who still put their families first. There was this rumored story that is still being investigated of people who are trying to buy the ventilators for personal use, which means there are people who have noticed they are exhibiting the symptoms. They are not going anywhere for fear of maybe status or something. And they are thinking, how can I just have this thing in my house?
But another thing, they should have been encouraged by the fact that state governors are coming out to say, I tested positive. Ministers are saying, I tested positive. Highly placed individuals. I think it should be a status symbol that, I have coronavirus.
They should exemplify, as leaders, they should exemplify their offices and let people know if you have the virus or the symptoms of the virus. I think the highest symptom is the dry cough and the choke. The choke of the respiratory cavity, where you couldn't, the whole bronchitis will be seized.
Yeah,
and then
basically it affects the lungs.
Affect the lungs, yeah.
All right, that's some of the symptoms about the coronavirus, and then the way Nigerians have been reacting to the coronavirus. Well, we are still in the situation room. We've been analyzing some factors around the coronavirus, how Nigerians see the coronavirus, how we have been reacting to it, even in our little spaces, and how the coronavirus has really been affecting Nigerians. We still have more to come, but right now, we'll be taking this break. Yesterday was the first day for the lockdown after the president made his speech prescribing a lockdown for Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun State. And it took off on by 11 p.m. on the 31st of March, and then on the 30th of March, I beg your pardon. Yesterday, being Tuesday, was the first day of the lockdown. How was it in the Federal Capital Territory? Let's take this break and find out this situation report, how the FCT looked like on the first day of the lockdown over coronavirus pandemic. Join us again after that.
Good morning, and this is the first day of the national lockdown in Abuja, Lagos, and we are here at Area 1 Under Bridge. This place, as you can see, it used to be full of life. This is where each time you come, you get to find people here going to different destinations. Just by my left here, you find a lot of people. In fact, this place used to be filled up with cars. This is where people get vehicles to wherever destinations that they are going here in Abuja. But today, as we can see, everywhere seems empty. It seems like a ghost town. And you can find that there are very few people, in fact, or more like nobody walking here on the street, maybe a few people walking on the road, and very few cars moving by. And this has just been like the situation in most of the places where we are coming from. how has the lesson session been so far this morning? Have you had any issue? Have you encountered any issue with either lesson motorists or people walking?
No, sir. No, sir. People obey the government rule. They stay at home. There's no crowd. There's not anybody on roofs.
Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
The job has been.
I mean, it has been horrible. Seriously, it has been horrible. Not easy. Not easy at all.
So now, is it that you didn't hear that there's supposed to be a lockdown for you to come out?
We heard about it. But what are we going to do? Did the government make any provisions? They didn't. Only to just put up decisions, just wake up in the morning, put up decisions of their selfish interest. Did they consult anybody? We are all Nigerians and we are people. We are governed by people. And people makes the government. So they should consider people first before making any kind of decision. Other countries that have done such have provisions. They've made alternatives. But we can't just come down over 200 million people and just decide you just want to clamp down because you have the money at home, you have enough food at home. An average Nigerian goes out daily to survive, to make hustles for himself. People with families, what would they want to do? To starve in their home and die? Let Corona come and starve us. Let's meet Corona on the street. We challenge our challenges. So I'm ready to dare Corona on the street.
So, sir, where are you going to right now?
I'm going to work.
Where do you work?
Yes, where I eat. Where I find my daily bread.
For the past 5 days ago, I'm a man of 7 in the family. The ones we have, I'm talking about food items, I've already exhausted. So I'm only trying to meet Area 1 by Shagare Plaza to see if I can pick something.
Okay, so you're actually going out to get some food stuff or what?
Food stuff, only food stuff.
So have you been able to get any vehicle? How did you get here to Area 1? How were you able to get?
It's hard to get any vehicle now. The reason why I even try to come across is because I'm living very close. I can even trek and go back home. Apart from that, there is no means of transportation.
But then there has been this an announcement that the place is going to be that Lagos, Abuja, and Ogun are going to be shut down from 11 p.m. yesterday. Were you not aware of this information? Why didn't you use that opportunity? If you were aware, why didn't you use the opportunity to stock your house up?
Well, it is not whether I had it or not. It depends on what happens in the house. A man of 5 children, he can't say this is what is going to happen. Either foodstuff or medicine can be involved. There can be a development of what to make you come out. So that is the issue.
This is a place that used to be filled up with economic activities, people coming here to buy, and a lot of people who own shops here sell to people coming to buy. But as you can see, the entire place is empty. Then you can see that the stores, no single shop here, it's actually opened. Everywhere is on the lockdown. And maybe just a few vehicles coming in and going up. Now this is the food section of the Wuse market. This is the only place, the only section of the market that has been allowed to operate. This is the only place you will find any semblance of economic activities. Despite that, you will still find some certain stores that are not open. They didn't come to the shop today. Now you find that the activities here, the economic activities here are not as bubbling as it used to be on normal days. So apparently, as we can see, that the lockdown here is also affecting the business, even though they have been allowed here to open. And you will see that a lot of people, sellers, traders are going about storing out their markets and putting on display, hoping that customers will come here and buy. And this is just the lockdown situation here in Wuse market.
The situation has been very calm. I think the lockdown that was declared by Mr. President is achieving its purpose. Of course, people are in their various houses to see that we stifle life out of this pandemic. But then again, Mr. President, in his wisdom, exempted a number of people, including processors, distributors, and retailers of food items. And it happens that some of them are found inside the markets. So there are a few markets in the FCT where you can still go and pick your food items. One of them is where we are here now in Wuse Market.
Yes.
One round, and you see them both in Gariki, Kaura, Farmers Market, and Kadu.
So have you noticed, have you experienced any unusual activity maybe some people trying to gain entrance into the market by force, or maybe people coming to the market not knowing that today was supposed to be a sit-at-home day?
Not at all. I'm sure that the government did very, very well in disseminating the information. In fact, from where I live to this place, you see security agents all over the places, littered all over. In fact, you don't do 1 or 2 kilometers without seeing them.
At Banex Plaza, this is the IT hub of Abuja. This is where you get to buy IT gadgets like phones, laptops, and their accessories. And as you can see, everywhere here seems to be quiet. When you go down, in fact, all of the gates are closed except for here, where there's a little bit of work going on here. And most of the workers here say they are actually setting up a pharmacy, which is one of the essentials that the president excluded from those who are supposed to observe the entire lockdown. But beyond this, people working here to set up the pharmacy, it seems like every other shop here in Banex Plaza is closed. The entire Banex Plaza is closed. No single activity, economic activity is going on here in this Banex Plaza. It's a total lockdown here in Abuja. Economic activities grounded in this area of Banex Plaza, and I think in the entire area of Banex Plaza. And I think that is just pretty much the situation here in Banex, and that's also pretty much the situation in every area of Abuja that we have been so far, that you have seen that no much activities. And I think Nigerians are totally observing the lockdown order and they're staying at home.
Many thanks for still staying tuned. This is Situation Room, Television Nigerian. In case you're just joining us, just gone by, we saw a situation report of what the Federal Capital Territory looked like on the very first day of the lockdown. Today is the second day of the lockdown. We are going to also be bringing you clips of what the city looks like. But before we get to all of that now, May, yes, you did hear some reactions from Nigerians.
From people, yes.
People, some were saying, it's better the coronavirus
just come.
That shows nonchalance to the real situation. Would you say that it's not really dawned on them that we'll have a situation on hand right now?
Well, yes, I think another part where people are not really showing that fear is because most of these people are in environments where they've not witnessed a death case or someone who contacted it. They've only been having the hearsays and the watch on TVs. And for some people, like I said, we have a way where we stereotype. They've already stereotyped the situation by saying it's a big man's disease. So they say it's been glorified.
And some are even saying that the lockdown was tailored to favor the rich because they can stock up their houses, they have food and all of that. And then the poor man that's supposed to go out every day to fend for himself is no longer going out.
But let's be emphatic here. If you ask people to stay at home, we know under normal circumstances you violate their right. We know under normal circumstances.
But this is
under abnormal circumstance. What is a government supposed to do? Let's be vividly explicit to tell our people this.
But we should know.
Now,
sorry, not that I'm cutting you short now. Before now, we are, in fact, everybody can tell you the problem of Nigeria. We don't have data.
We should not
we don't know how many we are. We don't know this and that. So why should we still be expecting that the government should come and take care of us? Shouldn't we have built a system of people being self-reliant on themselves? Because the government expects, for instance, let's look at the issue of electricity. It's not everywhere that you see electricity, but people they buy generators, they do a lot of stuff, and they fend for themselves.
You just cut me off. Okay. Let me give you a fundamental analysis about what governance is all about.
Or should be.
It's all about, not should be. It should be always. Okay. So, you understand? It should be, it ought to be, and it must be.
Okay.
It is because in this part of the world, we take everything for granted, even our rights we don't know anymore. I think Obande Gideon is calling from the essay to the governor of Benue State on Health. Is calling from Benue to
let's have his own situation
to give us a situation report there. And I think You are live on TVN. Can we have your report from Benue and who is speaking with us? Are we speaking with the SC to the governor on health?
Hello?
Hello.
You are live on television.
You are live on air.
Yes.
I want to hear the situation report from Benue, especially the contradiction we are getting from there about the index case of the COVID-19 patient. What could you say from the aspect of the government?
You're not clear about the reason you want me to talk upon. Because one, we have the test, it's true. Then what other aspects do you want to know?
Now, the aspect that we want to know, there is this contradiction where the patient tweeted that she is not positive, that she had carried out her test from London before flying into the country, and she was checked, but getting to Benue, she was picked up and said she is positive. Could you clear the air on that?
It is clear that she is positive, and the NCDC sent one of their staff down here 2 days ago to reaffirm the condition of Benue, that Benue has one positive case.
Okay. And the isolation center or the quarantine center, we had a complaint that she made that the place is not a place where somebody should be kept. How good is the facility? Has it been equipped or not?
Isolation?
The isolation center, the center where you take the patient of COVID-19 to, how equipped and how friendly is the center?
To me, I would say the center is friendly because everybody has its own specification. To me, I would say it's friendly because the staff are attending to people there. They are looking at their safety. So to me, it's friendly.
All right, so what is the general feeling in Benue State right now about the COVID-19 situation? What is the general atmosphere all about? Are people still skeptical that this is real? Or do they now believe that, yes, we have a situation at hand?
Well, from the rumor that people have been having from other states, these has made people react so much about the news of COVID-19 in the state. Because they believe the results from other states, and now that we have it in Benue, so many people are scared. I believe that they are having a negative effect about it.
All right, thanks for your take. That has been Gideon Obande, essay to the governor of Benue State on health matters.
Well,
This is serious.
serious, actually.
The question, what kept ringing in my head is, if the lady in question, said she had already carried out a test
in London
before she came, does it mean sometimes you have to double check this test? It's just like how we do with the HIV/AIDS, where they give you some time to check again. Does it mean this too goes through a double check? Because there was an allegation that came out in China where they said most people who ended up being negative again after leaving became positive again.
Yeah, I saw that story.
I was thinking maybe when someone has been healed of this virus, maybe there should be a time frame that the person still has to be
come back again,
quarantined even and studied. The person will be understudied before they check again and release this person to the general public.
So we do say we don't really know for now the real nature of this COVID-19. Because if we have someone that said, I tested and I was found negative, and on that basis she traveled back to Nigeria, and coming to Nigeria here she's found positive. Would you say are there discrepancies? Would you point out to some factors like maybe is it the testing pattern? Perhaps what we are using to test here.
It is because the symptoms is a symptom that is coming out from lung over time. The symptom is almost the same symptom with when something reacts to your body cells and your ions in the body. reaction, like the common flu is a normal symptom for malaria when your body cells are, dropping in their function. When you cannot breathe, of course, it's coming from the lung. You understand? So, catarrh, cough, dry cough, when you have lung infection, maybe from smoking. So, COVID-19, like you said now, that is it that we don't know actually what
the true nature
of it? And that is the fundamental question I asked from the beginning, that if we know what causes COVID-19, then we should be able to know what we use to dealing with COVID-19.
But another point is this. Looking at the time frame this lady carried out that test in London and the time frame she traveled. Now, there is something about the whole, when they say...
Yeah, she said she came down and the temperature here is quite different, became
from
high.
the one she is used to.
Yeah, she's used to.
But it's not supposed to last for a whole long time.
Yeah.
It's not supposed
to. You get used to it.
And she employed the government to carry out another test. Although the center they carried out and they confirmed that she was positive. But the issue is not being positive. She says she's not being adequately cared for in the isolation center, and that in fact she complained bitterly on her
but do you see the
Twitter
story?
handle.
Do you see the story changing from I am positive
and I'm not
to I am not?
No, she still insists she's not positive. But since the center has confirmed that she's positive, we have to believe that she's positive because she is not the doctor.
My question now is, what if this COVID-19 happens especially or more often, or the symptoms or whatever it is that gives it to you is within this international
conspiracy? Yes.
Because you tested negative. You went to an airport.
Oh, really?
You boarded a flight.
Yes.
Now there are people who would have this thing and decide, I am not going down
alone.
I step inside an elevator of an airport and I spit on all the buttons.
That is bad. That is deliberate mischief.
There was a video of a lady who was caught. She found out she had it. She went to a grocery store and was spitting on vegetables.
So that people could get infected.
Yes, it was the monitoring cameras inside, the security cameras caught, and they sent someone to get her. So, you look at all these things that it's okay. This woman, possibly she tested negative. But how long did it take her? How long does it take for you to fly from Europe to Nigeria?
All right. We are still in the situation room. We are going to keep analyzing the situation.
We have to call Lagos.
Yes, now Lagos is one of the centers where one of the places on lockdown right now. So we have Kolawole Emmanuel on standby in Lagos. So we are going to reach out to Kolawole Emmanuel. But before we get there, we'll try to still connect with Kolawole. Now we are on lockdown.
Yes.
Beyond this lockdown, stay at home and all of that. You just mentioned a situation when somebody went to a public place and was touching and spitting and all of that. So what preventive measures on a grander scale, on a general scale, is being put in place? It was on report, was it yesterday or this morning, that in Ondo State, they were fumigating the streets, fumigating the markets, fumigating. Isn't that a right step to take?
It is. But what about our houses? If you fumigate the streets, the person carrying the virus is in a house. We are in a place where our living condition is shaky. There are people who are not even having homes. So when they said shut down, lockdown, I asked, what about the people who sleep under the bridges in Area 1, Area 2, Area 3? Who is thinking about them? Where do they go for this lockdown? And these people who are going back into their houses, they're fumigating outside your house. How long does this fumigation, how long will it last? And this person, if this person don't go out, because there are people who are possibly sick and they won't go to the hospital. They will say, oh, it's a headache. I could just go out there and get a painkiller. Oh, we have one painkiller in my house. You do not know if the expiry date has passed. You don't know, you just take it. Yeah. So I think the hygiene will start from inside the house. The sensitization has to do with inside house fumigation. But when you look at the planning of our houses, the cluster living, the colony living, you start asking yourself, how do you do this? How do you get into every house to secure every house member before you go to the streets.
All right, like places like China, they have planned residences, planned settlements, so it's easier for them.
To
if
do
you talk
that.
about fumigation, to easily, you can even actually trace those houses and fumigate.
But something beats me about China. The whole virus started from Wuhan. Never went to Shanghai. Never went to Hong Kong.
Perhaps proactive measures from
So-
Shanghai, Hong Kong. Okay, it's now in Wuhan, lockdown, spray, fumigate. Isn't it possible that it would have been prevented that way?
So
because
does it mean the flights in China move from Wuhan?
it's possible the people that took
Okay.
off.
I think we just got connected with Kolawole Emmanuel from Lagos to give us situation report. Kolawole, you are live on television Nigerian.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I want to get your report from Lagos about the lockdown. How is it going there? Give us a general overview.
Well, Lagos residents have been quite obedient. As you can see, people have decided to stay in their houses, except for those that are going around with essential services. But as it stands, so far so good, we can say that the general overview of obedience to this lockdown is very, very encouraging.
All right, Mr. Kolawole, Lagos is, as far as Nigeria is concerned, now is the epicenter for the COVID-19, where we have the highest number of victims of this viral spread. How does that knowledge, how do people react? Is there this fear factor? Are people scared that this is so much within us? How are the people reacting to that news?
Yes, the fact that Lagos as it stands now has the highest number, the much population of Lagos or Lagosian now knows that it is not too safe for them to be outside. You know, the level of conscientization in Lagos is so much that even a baby, a 1-year-old boy will tell you that no, it is not safe for you to go outside now because of this COVID-19. So people are very conscientized, they are aware, they know what it is, and that is why, to an extent, they are not panicking, and to an extent, some are panicking. But people, the general overview of the whole thing is that people have decided to stay in their house and remain safe at home.
All right. The issue of palliative. Did the government make any provision for persons who actually do day-to-day business in order to live?
Well, the government of Lagos State has actually organized food chain for people to go to schools and get food for those that cannot, for the less privileged. But the fear amongst the residents is that going to all these food baskets too will equally make them to be more vulnerable to getting this virus to themselves. So people are not even going there as it stands now. Like yesterday, we were somewhere and we discovered that there were food as much as possible, but people are not even coming to get this food.
Okay.
Sorry, could it be because of the transport situation? Because in a lockdown situation, you're not supposed to have commercial transport.
But there's a way that these places are situated in the LCDA environment. So these are places that are trackable to your houses within the environment. But the truth is, people are not even going there. No matter how easy it is for them to get there, we are not seeing much people coming out to take this food.
All right. What about conditional cash transfer? Do you have anybody giving testimony from the government that the account has been credited?
Oh, as far as we in Lagos are concerned, or people of Lagos, I have not seen one on my own and from investigation. There's nobody that has seen any of such credit or any of such accounts has been credited as it stands now.
All right.
So we are beginning to wonder if that is only meant for the Abuja people alone and that Lagos is left out completely in the whole of the show.
Anyway, we'll get back to you. Thanks, Kolawole, for reaching us from Lagos. We'll continue.
Thank you very much, Kolawole. That was Kolawole Emmanuel from Lagos, giving us an overview of actually what is happening. It appears Lagos is more organized or more receptive when it comes to what factor would you attribute to this? We saw on the streets of Abuja people protesting,
Arguing
showing
not
aggressiveness towards this situation. But from what we are getting here, it appears Lagos people are more receptive. Could it be because it is more clearer that this thing is here because of the numbers that keep being announced every day? Or is it that Lagos is more of an egalitarian society?
Well, I would like to pick the both, and I'd like to even add, most times there is this thing where people have this level of belief in who leads them. So when these persons come out and say, this is how we are going to do it. You know, the thing is, even the president did make a statement in his speech where he said he knows that these are difficult times, but this is a matter of life and death. Somehow you have to risk it. Somehow there has to be a story tomorrow, and somebody has to be a custodian of that story. If we all stand for nothing, we'll fall for anything.
Exactly. And that brings me back to this thought that I said, what is our story? What story do we have to tell the world about our health facility, about our research? We have researchers, we have professors. In fact, our professors are much in this part of the world, even more than the senior advocate of Nigerians.
And it's even on record.
We have them in millions.
States, Nigerians are the most
So,
educated.
what is our story as regard medicine? What is our story as regard preventive measures for pandemic like this? What story? Do we have drugs? Do we manufacture drugs in this part of this country? Do we practice trado, is it traditional herbal and scientific drugs? You understand? Right. What do we do?
Now,
we went to school for nothing? Okay. What is the situation? What are we bringing out from our intellectual ability and capabilities?
Perhaps this COVID-19 has come to bring this home.
An eye-opener. To
the government, to our elites, to the educated Nigerians, the professors, 10 degrees and all of that.
And they're going to be protesting every time they are going on strike, so look at it. Discover common something that will deal with COVID-19, even Qatar.
It is not that common. And even America has not been able to.
But
no.
Sir, you have to look at something.
Yes.
The knowledge is there, but is anybody investing in the knowledge?
In the enabling environment.
So the professor must have done his job
and put
by
out
educating, impacting knowledge in the head.
Yeah.
Put out some theories.
But our government might have not been looking at this like an angle to invest in. How many researches are being funded in this country?
Honestly,
you remember the time. You remember the time that the first lady, Aisha Buhari,
it's a terrible situation.
Was it the State House? That there was no syringe or something like.
I think it was the painkiller first, and later there was
more. Then at the time it was that there was no syringe in the State House in Aso Rock. Not to talk about that local center, that health clinic in the rural environments, and our elites before now. Ordinary headache, they jet off to Spain. To India, wherever. But right now they are not going.
And they are using taxpayers' money to go to London, to go to Germany. They come home to brag about how powerful the hospital in Germany is, or in the US. Now, this pandemic started from there, and it has come to Africa. The very hospitals you left dilapidated, you are coming to be quarantined in them now. So, what do? Is it not enough to teach you a lesson that proactiveness in political bureaucracy should not stop governance, especially when it comes to health? Because the bureaucracy in this country, let me tell you, if we don't destroy it, it will definitely destroy us. That is, if we get out of COVID-19.
We definitely will, one way or the other. I just want it to be that when we go out, we should start investing more in nation building and capacity in our citizens.
Now, in line with what you just mentioned about infrastructure, people not doing what
for
government bureaucracy and all of that. Now let's look at the reactions to this outbreak. We've seen in the news the billionaires of Nigeria, institutions are coming out to donate billions of naira and all of that.
The government too has given billions.
The central bank has
50 billion first to the Nisar Microfinance Bank. We are aware of that for palliative. 3.3 trillion again. The money, the government is actually giving this money, and the stratas of people who actually disburse this money is where the corruption comes in.
Now, we are not really talking about corruption now because we've not even know the plan
because
yet.
The plan?
What is the plan? What is the disbursement's plan?
Okay, for instance,
what the president announced, the conditional cash transfer, the school feeding that has to go on, like you mentioned, it's actually real in Lagos, because that guy said there's a school where people are actually encouraged to go and get food, but nobody is going there. You understand? So perhaps the government is actually putting all those plans into place. But then, going forward, we are talking about palliatives. We are having hundreds of thousands or millions of naira being donated by well-meaning Nigerians. How do you think these things should be utilized to ensure that at least for these 2 weeks?
This is my profile. If the Minister of Humanitarian and Disaster Management, Sadia Omar Farouk, said, any moment from now, conditional cash transfer will go for poorest Nigerians.
Okay.
Now, and also the president did mention about vulnerable Nigerians.
Okay.
We also have people who are owners, entrepreneurs, who are owners of small, medium enterprises. The condition is go to NISAR for the 50 billion to get loan for your SME and household. That is for individuals who get up to 1 to 3 million, from 500,000 to 3 million, and then corporate organizations that are sole proprietorship businesses could get up to 25 million. The poorest Nigerian that the minister talked about, how are they going to access this money if they have the data? First of all, the poorest Nigerians that we know are Almajiris, people who are eligible, who reach the age of 18 and do not have anything to do.
Source of income.
They have no source of income. And then when you talk about the vulnerable people, the disabled people, we have about 28 million disabled people in this country. The data is there with the Bureau for Data and Statistics. And if the data is not there, why not these billions that is being dished out, disbursed for this essence? How many Nigerians, how many are we in the country? If we are 200 million, if we are 240 million populace, can each Nigerian not get 1 million?
Each Nigerian, including the rich.
Including the rich. So that there will be equity. No, I'm trying to just mathematically, if we say we are 240 million in population, and you have billions running, more than 240 million already, why not? You have database in the central bank, you have database with the INEC, you have database with the National Population Center, you have database with MTN, you have database with your banks. So you have BVN too, bank verification numbers. So if I am a president or I am a governor and I want to give palliative measures to my people, what do I do? Just press the button and that is all.
All right, the president didn't.
We should not play bureaucracy. We should not play the hypocrisy.
No, we cannot start.
The governor, the president himself wants to do something for the people. But there is this bottleneck that is always not making things work in this country. And we have to destroy that edge.
Yes, at this stage, I think it should be preposterous that we should not jump into conclusion that it's not working already, because this is just the second day. And they announced that they have started. Perhaps it's even all these things takes time. Nigeria is a big country, and we did do a report about this conditioned cash transfer, because we are talking about who are the poor Nigerians. There's actually a poverty register, and they took They have ways, and the way they did it, it was community based. Communities identified the poorest among the poor within them, and the government took note of all these people, and they said they will start transferring cash to these people. But so let's just give out some time. And see what will happen over time. Who have the situation, who will be making calls, who will find out whether government if government actually living up to their responsibility. But this is critical time. You know what I mean? This time I don't want to believe that it's going to be business as usual, because now it's a matter of life and death. Even the rich
are going through the same thing as you are.
It's no longer about the poverty.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to look at that bureau that is dealing with the number of the poorest people. Where my concern comes in, I'm looking at every day in Nigeria, we increase in number. Every day a 17-year-old becomes an 18-year-old eligible Nigerian. Are all these people reflected in this very arrangement?
Yeah, like when we had that, we did a report actually, and the person in charge, he said that they have this constant contact with these people. Okay. Perhaps at the point of enumeration, you were unemployed. You were the breadwinner.
Hello. Gentlemen, we are on to Isaac Ipa, the coordinator of the Center for Social Justice and Equity Transparency in Nigeria from Benue, to give us another opinion from that of the government we just listened to. You are live on TVN, Mr. Isaac.
Okay, you're welcome.
Now, can you give us situation report about the contradiction that is going on concerning the index case of COVID-19 in Benue?
Yes. The controversy concerning the index case of COVID-19 in Benue is still ongoing, as I tell you right about now. And because from our investigations, when the governor did the press statement and he gave the name, the governor or the Center for Disease Control had not even got to the patient to even show her test results. It is terrible when you are sitting, you go to a lab or a hospital to do tests, and the next thing you see on the media. I think it's totally wrong, but that's how a lot of people see it in Benue State, because the stigmatization is quite high right about now in Benue. Because all the people that relate to the woman, people are seeing them as if they have a plague right about now. And even staffs of the hospitals are being victimized right now as I talk to you. There's a particular case of a nurse that has been thrown out of her house because of the landlord, because she works at Grace Cottage Hospital. And who even published on their Facebook page that she should not go to her village. So it's having COVID-4, a banishment from your land or your home.
That's a terrible situation. But we, apart from the report that the government said, the NCDC has also on the side of the government that she is positive and has to be quarantined. Hello? Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I said...
Yes, I have no reason to doubt the test results announced by Professor Abba, the representatives of the NCDC. We have no reason to doubt the test results.
Okay.
But where we have issues is the way and manner it's been handled by the state government.
Okay.
That's where the people of Benue State have issues. Because when you run a check, even when the index case in Nigeria, the Italian, till we tell you now, nobody knows the name of that Italian.
Okay.
And every result that came out on the media, it was people that actually came out to say, I did this test and I have this illness.
Okay.
Not people, or they gave consent to either their parents, that is in the case of the son of Atiku Abubakar, or they gave consent to their close friends in the case of David Adeleke and his fiancée Chioma. There's nowhere in the world where the government will come out in a press conference to announce the result and call name of an index case. The victimization was so strong that we have more than 1,001 Susan Opes in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of pictures were coming out of different Susan Opes that was not even the Susan Opes.
Yeah.
Just imagine that a Susan Okpe is walking on the street and people just molest the person, or people just go and beat her up that you have COVID and why you are not isolating yourself. The tension was quite high here in Benin, and we had a lot of even statements from leaders talking to their people to calm down, and the senator representing Benin South, Comrade Abamo, made a press statement that everybody should calm down, that he's handling the situation and is in touch with both the NCDC and the state governor so that everything will be resolved. And so she was even victimized to the extent, you see a video that went viral yesterday where she did, and it posted on Instagram. You see when the doctors that are supposed to take care of this patient, you come to your room and throw the mask, the face mask at you and say you should pick it. It's a really sad situation, and they were trying to video her from the door against her will. It's sad here. I think, and again, they were showing us earlier on pictures of isolation centers and wards with a lot of beds. But even from the videos, if you see where the patient was admitted was just a 4-room ward with dirty bed sheets. I think the state government needs to do more in the way we are handling this situation here in Benue.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade Isaac Ikpa is the leader of Center for Equity and Social Justice, Democratic Transparency. That take was a wonderful one. Thanks for calling, comrade.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Very sad.
It's sad.
You can see it has been balanced, and we are getting a report from Jos right now. And I think...
is the person online? Can we take the call?
No. We'll pick the call later. Let's
all right. Now,
deliberate on this issue.
The issue from the Benue, if exactly what he said is the situation, then it is not encouraging at all. Coming from a government...
My problem is with the medical persons. We all know that when you are handling a patient, there's something they call doctor-patient confidentiality. Now it means they just took this person's medical report out there. It would have been another case if she had a court case that warranted that medical report to be used as an evidence against her. But this one, it's like you went out there to put it there and tell people this is it, which means she could also look into a lawsuit.
Of course. Maybe there are other...
And she talked about a kind of stereotyping or stigmatization, where even the doctors had to throw the face masks through the window to her, and not getting closer so that they will not...
But it tells you something. They are not well covered too.
Yeah.
For them to have thrown it, they are not sure of themselves going close to this person. So that means it falls back to the...
We are having more calls, and I think after this...
Yeah, we are going to go on a short break, and when we come back, the program will continue. Stay tuned, don't go away.
The world has been brought together to form an alliance to fight deadly pandemic coronavirus, or the COVID-19. It's no longer news that the world is fighting against the deadly virus that is no longer a respecter of age, class, and status, as it has affected the world leaders, entertainers, socialites, the rich and the poor. Over 228,385 cases and over 9,357 deaths recorded in the world from COVID-19. Here on African Patriot Radio, we will be giving you 20 tips in preventing and protecting you from the deadly epidemic. 1. Wash your hands properly with water and antiseptic soap, or use a sanitizer. Use medical masks while in public places. 3. Do not come in physical contact with those infected. 4. Avoid touching your face, eyes, nose, and other sensitive parts of your body with unwashed hands. 5. Stay at home if you're not feeling well. 6. When coughing or sneezing, use a tissue and dispose afterwards. 7. Always clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces like chairs, tables, door knobs, etc. 8. Cover your nose with a handkerchief or tissue when someone around you sneezes. 9. Avoid overloaded commercial vehicles. 10. Avoid populated center. 11. Sweaty body contact or sharing clothes you aren't sure are properly washed. Please avoid them. 12. Drink plenty of hot or warm water. 13. If you have a high fever, cover yourself with a blanket. 14. Avoid drinking too much of ice water. 15. Do lots of exercises. 16. Try to eat ginger or add them to your meal. It generates heat in the body. 17. Avoid sharing objects or accessories like earphones without cleaning or disinfecting them. 18. Avoid eating in unhygienic places or areas. 19. Avoid cold environments where it is possible for the virus to thrive. Finally, the most common thing we touch is our phone. Always make sure that you clean the surfaces of your phones with wipes, sterilizing agents, or alcohol. These are some helpful ways of preventing coronavirus. If you reside in Nigeria, please call this number for help: 080-097-000010. Please like and share this video. You can also follow us on our Instagram at African Patriot Radio News, and on Facebook at African Patriot Radio, and on Twitter at Patriot Radio 1.
Many thanks for still staying tuned, and if you're just joining us, this is the Situation Room from Television Nigerian, and we are analyzing the COVID-19 lockdown in Abuja, Lagos, Ogun State, and elsewhere in Nigeria and around the world. The situation, how the world is reacting to COVID-19, the novel coronavirus that we have at hand. Now, we just heard, we were just talking about the situation
in Benue
State that really calls for some action, not just saying, not just trying to advocate for what the woman can do, her rights and all of that, but I think coming from government, from a government institution, and coming also from the medical practitioners, from what narrated about the way she was treated by the doctors. These are some of the things that really discourage people. Yes. And when they talk about not having confidence in government institutions, this is one of those situations that give credit to.
And apart from that, you look at the way people will now frown at going to hospitals or coming out to say, I think I have this symptom, because they are thinking, how would I be treated? I'll be treated like I'm not human. Now, another fear is, this is just the first step, or the first times we're dealing with this thing. But as time goes on, if we do not handle this thing properly, a time is going to come you could be lynched to death if you are suspected to have this very.
If you look at what she said, what the Isaac Ikpa said, you see the contrast from the angle of the government. If the Center for Disease Control has said that this woman is positive, what should they do? Are they not supposed to be responsive, take necessary equipment to make life easy for her there at the isolation center? But no, what video that is going round said they threw at her the mask
already stigmatization
through the window. So if the Nigerian or National Center for Disease Control are in charge, does it mean that they are not equipped before they went there?
No, but they have the nose masks to throw to her.
But we saw that. We saw that in other. Yes. So it's like at a distance. Are the doctors working at distances? for COVID-19
the
patients.
social distancing happening in the hospital.
In the hospital, no.
No, this is a
Doctors mark
This is not
themselves.
social distance.
Doctors mark themselves, prepare themselves, and attend to patients. We're not using AI here. They are not artificial intelligence that we are using here.
No,
So-
I think that there's more to be done about this case, so that
Yes.
lessons should be learned. about
Yes,
how to
if it
treat
is
people.
true that the
Exactly.
center has confirmed that she's positive, then the center should rise up to the occasion to doing exactly what they're doing in
right.
Lagos and what they're doing in FCT. They should do that in Benue and all the places where we have COVID-19 situation.
Now, if you followed some other parts of Comrade Iba's message, call, he said they kept her in a 4-walled room.
Yes.
Now, if we are not careful, we might, instead of building facilities to quarantine people, we might build up facilities that dish out depression.
Exactly.
Now, you leave someone in a room like that, treat the person like that, a man's brain can develop, and that person can create a weapon inside that place to kill themselves.
I remember the first case that was reported in Enugu State. I think we have a caller online. Check, we have a caller line.
All right. Let me get the situation report from Abuja. We'll get back to him.
All right, like I was saying, I remember the first case reported case in Enugu that later turned out that the woman was negative, but she later died. The daughter of that lady actually came out to say that the mother died not from the coronavirus, but from the way she was treated. You know, It was out there in the social media. She was narrated how the mother was treated, how they would just abandon her and all of that. At the end of the day, just as an isolation center, the facilities there were very poor. The treatment she received from
was not just it.
Was no, and at the end of the day, the woman lost her life.
Like
and now this kind of story coming from Makurdi, I think Makurdi of Benue,
yes, Makurdi in Benue State.
It's actually not really.
It's not good. The one thing people don't know is this.
I think we have Peggy. We have Peggy on the line from FCT. Mr. Peggy.
Yes, please.
Yes, you are live on TVN.
All right.
Please, could you give us situation report from the FCT today?
Okay. Thank you very much. Right now, I am at the Nigerian Center for Disease Control.
Good.
The headquarters. Yes.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
What's the situation like at the
Okay. Yeah.
LCDC?
So we have come to update status regarding the total number of cases that have been registered, and then including the number of cases discharged and deaths. I have discovered from the records here that 151 confirmed cases, 9 discharged cases, and 2 deaths.
Sorry, can we have the figure again? You said how many confirmed cases?
A total number of 151 confirmed cases
51.
tested positive to the COVID-19.
In FCT.
We have in the whole country.
Okay.
Yes, and 9 discharged cases of those who are completely treated and free of the COVID-19 virus.
Good.
And 2 deaths. The breakdown of the number according to state is Kaduna State has 3 cases. Enugu has 2 cases. FCT has 28 cases. Oyo State has 8 cases. Lagos has 82 cases. Ogun State has 4 cases. Osun State has 14 cases. Edo has 4 cases. Bauchi 2 cases. And Ekiti 2 cases, making Lagos State the highest, with the highest number of cases, 82.
All right.
There's no Benue case reported at the moment. I met with the incident manager on the COVID-19 project, Dr. John Olabijo. He confirmed this report to me as at 12 noon today, that Benue has no case. So
I was able to find out from him that Professor Abba is the representative from the Nigerian Center of Disease Control in Benue, that there was a mix-up in the test and something is not right about it. But he has given me the go-ahead to come back tomorrow to get updates about the case in Benue. But as of now, there is no case in Benue.
Oh my God. All right.
Anybody that NCDC does not announce names of people who are affected with the virus or infected with the virus, they give statistics only, and they go straight into dealing with situations around dealing with the testing and then addressing the situation to save the lives of Nigerians.
All right, thank you, Mr. Peggy. I think we can have this on authority, on good authority that
I am right now at the headquarters, so nobody should lie to you, please.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peggy. Before you go, what is the situation out there in the Federal Capital Territory? This is the second day of the lockdown. What is it like in comparison to what we had yesterday?
I have gone to the airport. All the airports are shut down. I have gone to the streets and visited major places in town. This is the first time Nigerians have become afraid in the entire existence of Nigeria. Everybody has run away. They are in their houses. They are all in their houses. I'm telling you the truth. If there is a time Nigerians are being afraid, it is now.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
All right.
Mr. Peggy. We'll get back to you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would I call that being afraid or being
Be
cautious?
careful. Be careful.
You see, the situation of Benue, he said from the Center for Disease Control, there is no record that Benue has COVID-19 in this case.
And there's actually a mix-up. He did mention that he got from there that there's a mix-up in that report from
Professor.
Yes, from Professor
Abba.
So, where does that take us to?
Well, I will just put it in one simple sentence. Benue is indeed the food basket of the nation, and right now there is a food cooked there called controversy.
Controversy is cooking.
It's cooking.
It's not done yet.
It's not
cooking.
dished out yet. So
Because that woman has a lot of options.
Could we say this is politics?
well, I don't want to look at it from that angle.
Yeah, actually, someone did say that perhaps Benue State is in a hurry to be identified with one of the cases of, like, okay, we have it. Perhaps there's something that's going to come to states that have this COVID-19, because we're talking about palliatives, talking about monies being given out. You know, some people might not want to be missing. I don't want to put it like this.
But let's look at another angle. From the way it's going, we've seen many isolation centers that have been built,
yes,
not just in this country but around the world. Do you see these isolation centers as places where people will feel, if I have been found positive, I want to be kept in? Because some of them possibly don't look like you are even going on a treatment. It looks more like you're going where you're going to be maltreated, malnourished. Like the other woman who the lady in Benue who is alleged, she complained about the facility and how it was not a place to stay. The comrade also made mention about the dirty bed sheet.
Exactly. And the fact that the lady kept insisting she is not positive. And I mean, the center is saying they tested you and you are positive, and she said she's sure.
But
and from what we've just got right now is a
from
confirmation that
now
actually
that
she is in the wrong place. She shouldn't be in that place at all. So, what do you think can happen from here?
She's just a victim of circumstances.
Okay, who do we have?
From Lagos, Michael Ogo from Lagos. He said he wants to give us situation report.
All right, he's not connecting.
All right,
maybe we'll have to try to reach out
he,
to Michael.
He was calling.
He has been online for a long time.
Yeah.
So when he comes back, we'll have to really get his take from Lagos and what is happening. Now, can we look at the economic effect of this COVID-19 right now? We've seen people expressing fears, especially on the streets of the Federal Capital Territory, about what hunger might do to them when they're inside their houses and all that.
Let's not be lackadaisical about
We've
this.
seen reports. We saw our correspondent that went to the market. We saw to the shopping malls everywhere is closed down, and even in the market where the food stuff is being sold, just scanty people, because even the people that are open, who is going to come and patronize them? Because there are no transport facilities carrying people around.
So
you can't just
be people in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood, and you know the way Abuja is built, most of these things are not really very close.
Yes.
Especially in the city center, they're not really very close to where people live. You have to take some distance. So, what do you think is going to be the economic effect? Let's start with the people right now, the small-scale businessman, and then the artisans, and then the people that depends on their daily bread. Go out in the morning, get something, and bring back to your family, and they will have something to eat.
For me, I have a fear of what happens after we cross this dark part. Now, after we cross this dark part, already, you know, there's something they say, even in the human body, they say when something like a pandemic comes out, the first time it will kill people rapidly because the immune system possibly has not adapted.
Yes.
But a time comes where people die slow out of it. A time comes where people live with it. We've seen it in cases from, I think cases dated as
the
far
Spanish
as
flu, the Chinese flu, and so on.
People grew to even the what they call the smallpox.
Yes.
People grew.
The measles.
People now started living with it.
Because the vaccinations have come to be, drugs for adverse reactions and immediate reactions.
Put this in a working context. Oh, we're having this, we need to do a shutdown. But while we'll be on shutdown, we're going to select a few number of people who would work. Now, I am a person who's giving out labor. I give a few people and I found out, oh, the few crowd I have can multitask and give me the result I had with the crowd. Now, after we finish with this and everything comes back to normal and settled, I will sit down and think, I would save more money if I keep the few people. I have test run them through the 2 weeks period and it worked. Now, many people lose job from there. In the other aspect, some people sell perishable goods. They have vegetables, they have everything stocked up in their shops and they're expecting people to buy. Then the shutdown came because the warning was not that long. You know, even though the president in his speech said for those who cannot get some basic amenities, they were going to try to make something happen within the week, of which confused me because I got that the speech happened, I think, a weekend to the shutdown. So I was thinking, when exactly are we getting these basic amenities and so on?
You see, when you're talking about economic effect of this thing, is already with us. Staying indoor for 24 hours, if you are a hustler, somebody who hustles for his daily bread, definitely it will have negative impact on you. You can't go out. You saw the video we shot the other time. Those guys were like, we've been driven inside. Perhaps not for your good though, but which one is to confess now? The COVID just affected 100 and something persons and we are trying to curtail it and contain it. But the hunger is with you already and you just can't go out. And this is where I said a responsible government like the president is being responsible and he has given money, he has given directive. Now, the various institutions, the SIP, the Nisar Microfinance Bank, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and so on, that are responsible of disbursing this cash should be effectively doing their job with immediate effect.
Well, are you trying to say now that there is no form of check and balance now, that the president actually dishes out the money?
No, it's not only the president. Yes, you see, the condition from the Nisar that I saw the conditions, and not many people will meet that condition, but many people already been locked down. If money is released for people to palliate their economic livelihood, the hardship, because this is a hit. The COVID-19 lockdown is a hit already. And palliative has been given to people whom were hit by this COVID-19. And then you are giving them conditions that, please, your employment status, your bank account last payment, or this past 6 months payment, is there in the condition?
Then I don't think this is designed for the poorest community.
Because they said for people, no, they said for household and for entrepreneurs. And who are the household? If I am a common man and I don't have a job, I should be able to approach Nisar Microfinance Bank to get something from the 50 billion naira the CBN release.
But this is something you're talking about. We're talking about something as a loan, because I know loans will come back with interest.
Yes.
It's a loan that...
So how does the poorest person who possibly don't have a job pay back a loan?
That is it.
No, but you know that in the aspect of loan, they did announce some palliatives in that a moratorium of 3 months. Of course, and then
they said a period to just 4 years. They said from now to the next 2024.
No, for the payback time.
The payback time is 1 year.
But they will give you given a moratorium of 3 months before you start paying.
Normally it's done like that.
So I think it's a kind of palliative. And then the interest rate was brought down.
So low, 5%.
Yeah,
then,
no, less than 5%.
Okay, no, 5%.
After the first 6 months or thereabout, it now gets to 5%. I think it's 2.5 or thereabout. And after some time, it now goes up to.
Okay, I saw 5 and 9. I saw 5 and 9.
My own concern.
Then the SIP, under the SIP, the money disbursed under the social investment scheme. What the minister is saying is what I don't understand. If you are saying poorest Nigerians, the people being locked down now, are they the only poorest Nigerians? They are not only poorest Nigerians. There are also people who make billions every day, people who make millions, or people who at least make daily living from their personal small, medium enterprises. And now they can't go out again. And the income will be short or will be completely nullified. How do you resuscitate these persons?
I think what we should be advocating right now is for the task force on this COVID-19. I think they have a whole lot going for them. They have a lot.
Honestly, this is an emergency situation, and it calls for quick action.
They have to go back to the drawing board. Look at the dynamics
where
of all
it
of
doesn't
this.
sit well.
Because if they are going to base this on the poorest of the poverty register that they had like 2 years ago,
a lot of people will die. Hunger can give people malaria too. Apart from mosquito, malaria and symptoms can even become very strong.
When you are hungry, your body system is
will be shaking. So people should be given incentives now.
If you look at that register,
especially if they have bank accounts.
Because I undertook that report. They based this thing majorly where you have aged people, and then where you have perhaps the person that's supposed to be a breadwinner to this aged person, maybe is disabled out of an accident or all of that. People that hustle, they get up in the morning and go. They were not taken into consideration because they believe they are fending for themselves. In the evening, they come back with the rice and the families are able to eat. They are not counted as the poorest of the poor. And now these same people are forced to stay at home. So what is going to happen?
A whole family suffering.
A whole family from the head, the children and every other thing. So it's a very, very dicey situation.
That's why I said we weren't prepared. When I say we weren't prepared, I'm not even looking at the angle of where the coronavirus came. Yeah. As a nation, we weren't prepared for a lot of things. We're talking about the aged people. What is very hard for us to have a geriatric home where these aged people are being taken care of. Then you look at some other things. Like when you see you're giving the poorest, these people don't have jobs. So why not start thinking now, what services can you now use these people to render for the nation, and it becomes a way of paying off your loan?
Anyway, one of the government officials actually said, this is just for a period of 2 weeks. Let's not too much start shouting. This is just for a period of 2 weeks. Let us see.
It takes 1 day. It takes one
day for a whole thing
for everything to change. So you look at 2 weeks and say it's just. For you, it's just 2 weeks. For someone, just yesterday, there was a lady I watched on news. She was crying already. Just 1 day. What would go on with that woman for a week?
4 days, 1 week. Then going to the second.
If you don't take time, you will have more debt from hunger, more debt from other ailment than COVID-19. Before COVID-19 will get to us, to our doorsteps. And I don't know. The president has done his part. The appropriate authorities and institutions will be looking up to them to do their part, to do it vividly, with expediency.
With supervision from
supervision.
The
yes, that is expediency. That is accountability and everything should be monitored, evaluated strictly, so that people will get these palliative measures. If not, more death, more than what we have from COVID-19 could.
All right.
come.
Now, as part of the lockdown measures, the president did announce, or the government did announce, closure of borders, especially boundary states between the FCT, Lagos, the states between bordering Lagos and their neighboring states, the boundaries to be closed, no movement, no intercity movements to be restricted, even within the cities. All right, so our correspondent, Lucky Wankwo, did visit one of such boundaries in the FCT, the boundary between Abuja and Nasarawa State, and witnessed some some situations in that place, and we are going to share it with you in a moment. So stay tuned, let's watch this video, and when we come back, we'll do analyze more. It is still the Situation Room. Please don't go away.
Okay, there's okay. This is boundary between FCT and Nasarawa State, and the condition here is very critical. You can't come into FCT anymore, but you can go out from FCT. So we don't know the fate of people who are on the queue so far. What can you say about the screening so far?
This situation is terrorizing because I'm tired. In fact, I'm tired of this government. The fact is that what I'm seeing now is more than me. We are looking for what to eat. People are suffering. Look, lockdown is not the issue. The issue now is that it should allow people to go about to look for what they will eat.
How long have you stayed here?
I've stayed here over 2 hours without movement. Look for what I'm going to eat now.
Where are you heading to that?
I'm heading to town to deliver a goods to somebody. And this only means I can feed myself and my family.
What do you want government to do right now?
I want government to help us. Even if, okay, look at inside market there, people that shares pepper, that's how they feed. And now nothing is happening. How will they feed? So the only thing I want government to do is to allow the movement to go on. Because this lockdown will not help us.
My name is Salma.
Okay, have you people got any LB situation so far?
Not that much. People who temperature are more than 38.
Positive?
No, it's not positive. We are just taking the temperature. Okay. So whenever the temperature is a little bit high, we ask them to go and sit down for some time. Then we recheck the temperature again. If it is subsidized, then we ask the person to go. But if the temperature is not subsidized, we have to refer the person to medical center.
Okay, do you mean you've not recorded any positive case here so far?
No positive case here so far.
Okay, for eventually if we record, how do you handle the case?
We have to send it to our higher authority. They would want to do that.
Okay, they will take the person to which, are there any specific hospitals around this area now? Or?
The only one we send them is medical center. From there, they refer the case to another site. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. What I want to ask again, have you people have any challenge in doing this?
Of course, so many challenges. Like some of them, if you stop them, they will not want to stop. Like most of these military men, they feel so big that they don't want to stop for you to be tested, so you just have to just let them pass.
Okay, so you mean the military men in uniform, they are not allowing people to test them?
Some of them, not all of them, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. What I want to know again, since you've been here since yesterday, I found out that is it for the meantime or people continue to stay here?
No, it's just for the meantime. When it's subsidized, we have to change location.
We will not stay here for the 14 days?
We are staying here for 14 days.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well done, sir.
How can you assess this training going on so far? What can you say about that?
As in to assess the training going on so far, I think it's a nice one. Seriously, the way they are doing the job, I think it's a nice one because allowing passage to inside Abuja, I think maybe one person is like affected with this virus and is allowed to enter like that, it will cause more. So I think it's okay with the job they are doing here.
But right now there is total lockdown in FCT. Does it mean that these people going into FCT, they are not aware of the lockdown or what?
Lockdown, FCT, like some people are not aware, while some are aware. We at that side, we don't really know that something is happening. because like from a market there, I think there's free passage. But now, coming to this place and we experience that there's a lockdown, so we don't really know. So I'm saying that many people are not fully aware of it.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
Sir, I found out that you are doing screening here. How has it been going?
Well, it has been going very well. The essence of the screening is to make sure that all the passengers, the drivers, the owner of the vehicle that are going to Maraba, all of them are being screened here by all these health workers. Also screened, and those going to Maraba are screened as well.
Are there any situation so far?
No, there's no problem. As far as I'm concerned, we have not witnessed anything like that.
Okay, sir. How do you handle it?
Well, you can see ambulances, all this thing, they are available now. If there's any eventuality, so we take care. You can see police, we see VIO, you see road safety. You mean this lockdown?
Yeah, I mean this process.
This process?
Yeah.
Well, for now it's for 14 days. Maybe after 14 days, maybe we may receive another order. Maybe either we have to extend it or not.
What can you say about the screening so far?
Even though it's tight, but we like it to avoid problems. Is this one now is not, if I call it war calamity, to be something, but it's affecting the whole world. The federal government itself, they are losing a lot. They knew it and they can afford it. Why not obey these rules? I employ the whole Nigerians to listen to the federal government, listen to the voice of our president, and shut down. God bless you.
You mean they need more personnel here, or the people here, they are not functioning well? That's why.
It's not they're not functioning well. We need more machine. We need more tools to work. If, let me say, 5 to 10 persons are working in the same thing, it will move faster. That will ameliorate the suffering of the people.
Welcome back. It is still the Situation Room, and we are analyzing the lockdown situation in the Federal Capital Territory, in Lagos, in Ogun State, and all the states where the COVID-19 is actually running riot right now. Now, gentlemen, we saw the situation at the border between Abuja and Nasarawa State. They saw the lady trying to take the temperatures. They said they're going to be there for the next 2 weeks. They're prepared. So do you see that and some other measures as a real proactive measure in curtailing this spread so that it doesn't escalate into Nasarawa? Nasarawa doesn't really have a lot of cases. Okay. And FCT has how many? 20-something? 30-something?
Well,
the close proximity between
the cases will continue to increase by the day, since the symptoms we have are almost synonymous to other symptoms from other ailments. And when you talk about whether this is proactive enough, we are not in a proactive situation anymore. We are in a reactive situation now. When we started this alarm was 29th of February. We shot a program here, and we advised that the government should lock down. Even on one of our press talk, we advised the government to lock down completely. They have airport everywhere, should lock down, because what we saw coming should not get into this country on the 29th of February.
But we had already reported a case of coronavirus as of 27th of January.
27th, the Italian that came in.
So if he was in already and had made contact, it was here already.
Yeah, I think perhaps it was before then, but there is this particular 29th, we made emphatic statement to the government to lock down. Even when the Italian came, the government hadn't locked down. The government only banned 2 days later that they banned 13 countries from entering Nigeria. If you remember, that was supposed to be either on the 1st of March or on the 31st. Yes, on the 1st of March that they said 13 countries should be banned from coming.
Flights
you understand? No. So it is not a proactive measure anymore. It's a reactive one. But it will go a long way. It will go a long way because unnecessary hike in temperature when detected could be one of the symptoms. Okay. And especially if it goes with dry cough and what have you, that they name as symptoms of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, I want to look at the boundary between Abuja and Nasarawa. That is one of the most densely populated places.
Very, very.
I think I know.
Very,
besides
very.
Lagos.
Besides Lagos.
That place houses a lot of people, activity. It's a beehive. Now, you can look at it that even in the whole lockdown, it's busy. But it's not as busy as a normal day, but it's busy. Most of these people are going to use ID cards and badges. I don't know how the security agencies put in place to make sure people follow law and order. How can they detect an ID card that is valid, that is real, from which is not, since we don't really make use of the serial numbers exactly. behind for you to have a confirmatory machine to check. So how do you know if I show up with an ID card of maybe someone I worked before, would you just let me pass in the name of I am going to do my job? Because the place is so filled, people are moving about their day-to-day life and they're doing their businesses. Now, I am not saying it's clamped down on people, but essential duties, people who have duties that are going to be much needed in these times, if we find those kind of people outside, it is understandable. But finding people where everybody is just out there, some people are roaming about it, chatting about it, meeting, you see, they're already gathering. They're gathering, clustering. And before you know it, what we're trying to fight, we're out there sharing it to go back again and give other people who are quarantining themselves.
But the fact again is that you can't even stop people from coming out when they become very hungry. Let me tell you, we know there is a rule. Will you flog them? Are you going to beat them when they come out tomorrow to say, okay, we want to go get food, we don't have anything to eat, and the government didn't give us anything, so I'm going to walk? Some people could afford to trek to their offices.
There should be a perimeter within where you can move. And I believe there is no environment that you wouldn't have some place where you can get your basic needs.
To eat.
Yeah, but what about the money? What about those that earn on a daily basis? Now, it's not about, it's like if you go to all these satellite towns, nobody can tell you that they can't get something to eat because food stops.
It's everywhere.
The bookers are there selling food. But where is the money to go and buy?
Well, that is what we said, that the country was not prepared. Because the preparedness is not saying you have
to test. You know, like most people, as early as 5 a.m., they are out of their
The country is even reactive enough. If you look at the billions given already.
That's not being reactive.
It's reactive to the palliative measure.
We've not seen the work.
But can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If these billions were donated, shouldn't those billions be the one they'll be giving people for incentives?
Exactly, that's why I'm saying. That's why I said it's not even.
Since it's not being,
because I've not seen it.
The one of the loan is different. That one is 50 billion. The one given to the SIP is also.
So why not we hold on? We hold on.
The individual donations is to fight. It's mostly to the NCDC.
Oh, all those millions.
Yes, yes.
To do what specifically?
To fight the situation and to arrest the situation, as well as helping, the poor people who are helping in the lockdown.
That's what we're saying. But if you say it's for fighting like that, then where's the first line of action? Basic needs.
And the target is the people.
If these people had the food and you said, okay, let's go on a lockdown, I'm telling you, don't be anybody complaining.
Yeah, of course.
You already have your source of life.
Yeah, people will even want to relax at home, watch movie.
But is there light? You're going to look at it, the food is light.
The situation is in the country and in the continent of Africa is still a quagmire.
Yeah, the opposition People's Democratic Party, they did mention that the government, as it was a suggestion, that they should separate the what do they call those people again? These action action committee on AIDS.
Okay.
The task force.
They should
the
separate.
task force on COVID. They should separate them from these donations.
Exactly.
So that they don't
feast on the donation because they know the politics. Anyway, in case you are watching us live from any part of the world, you can simply dial the numbers displayed on the screen. Now, if you want to give us your opinion, to react to the situation room, this is the Nigerian news situation room for COVID-19. And the numbers already displayed on the screen. In case you are vision impaired, you can call +234 8137 01 5949 or +234 70 54 32 76 16. So I believe the MCR will place it on the screen for you to call and give us your reaction from any part of the world you are watching us from. Situation COVID-19.
All right, before we take some calls, definitely people are going to be calling and all of that. So what really, if we should be, let's play the advocate right now.
Okay.
What should government really be doing right now that they are not doing well? What do you think? Especially when it comes to the people who are going to be at home for 2 weeks. Okay, not less than 2 weeks now because this is the second day. Today is already gone. We're talking about some 12 days.
And even it could be more than that.
It could be more after the 2 weeks. It could be extended.
As more situations are arising, the fear of being spread could still come and the government will still lock down.
A place like
lockdown is easy to pronounce.
A place like
but it's what follows that matters.
In America, I think it's in Indiana or something. They are talking about 10 months.
Yes.
I mean 10 weeks.
President, I think almost 32 states there in the United States are on lockdown.
Exactly. You know, sometimes they are extending the days.
A big girl told them it would take up to 18 months to get
the vaccine.
The vaccine.
So it's not really something that
they are like the highest hit as it is now. Their case recording.
And in fact, today he was calling for a total lockdown.
And I think you know why. Their death rate has overtaken China today, as we speak, and China is already giving medicine to Spain.
China had reopened their airports and some.
Even Wuhan is already functioning.
I mean, yes, Chinese cities are
so
elsewhere.
You can see the conspiracy theory.
No, before we get to
whatever.
What should Nigerian government right now? What should they be thinking? Well, we have funds. We can't say we don't really have money right now because some individuals have started donating.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at what CBN and all those other governments. We're looking about individuals, the OT dollars. I also heard your brother Tuface Idubia has donated, and then some other big boys, so to speak, giving out millions and billions.
Even a lady among the billionaires, I've forgotten her name. Falake something.
Alakija.
1 billion.
The richest woman in Africa.
I think her NGO too gave something.
So how should these billions be disposed?
Well, I think the first thing, how may I see it is like this: the government is for who?
For the people.
And it was brought in by the people. So who should be the center of attention to the government?
The people.
The people. So the first thing you should think is, we want to do a lockdown. How does it affect our people? Negative, positive. Then weigh it. Is the negative more than the positive? Is the positive more than the negative?
Yes.
What do we do to balance the parts that we need? We need a positive solution. So what do we need to do to balance it? Okay, they need water, they need light, they need food supply, they need health supply. Because you can, if you don't practice some healthy tips around you, like the ones we always put up on our channels, you would find out you are still bound to be down with another thing.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Cosmos.
Yes, how are you, sir?
Fine, you are live on television Nigerian.
Yes, thank you very much.
And you are calling from where, please?
I'm calling from Festac Town, Lagos.
Okay, could you give us situation report from Festac Town about the lockdown?
Yeah, actually, the situation is as normal as expected. People are indoors. There's no movement at all, except some pockets of people this Okada, Keke, and Okada riders, moving around looking for people to move about. But in the nutshell, everywhere is quiet and calm.
Okay. And about the lockdown, I hope everybody staying at home, they have stocked food for the next 2 weeks.
People are stocked at home as expected, yeah. But the question now is that how are the people finding the situation? Because I want to tell you the truth, lots of people are not comfortable with it because of what you know, just like every other Nigerian should know. Putting people at home, lots of people in Nigeria, or even in Lagos here and every part of Nigeria, depends on daily movement to be able to survive as citizens. You understand?
Yeah.
So when you confine them to a particular place or confine them at home, and there's no food for them, it becomes a problem. So people are not really finding it funny. I have to tell you the truth.
Okay, what do you think? What should you suggest that government should do to help the situation?
There is nothing much, I have to tell you the truth, because lots of people are expecting the government to start sharing money or pay money to, just like what is going around in social media, paying money to people's accounts and so on. But I wonder how that will work out in a situation in a country like Nigeria. You understand? Yeah, but we understand from grapevine we have that the Lagos State government is sharing food around. But I mean, in fact, we've not seen anybody, we've not seen any sign of it. So we are just sharing that they are sharing food stuff somewhere in other parts of Lagos, which in first time here we've not gotten anything like that. So when you ask that kind of question, what would we want to expect government to do? I'll tell you as a matter of fact that I don't really know because the food they are sharing, I wonder how they will achieve that, because social distancing, and by the time you come in an environment and crowd people together to start scrambling for whatever food you are sharing, we are still disobeying the law the government themselves put for the masses. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but what I suggest is the way they would have done it is, probably like Pestac here where we are, it could be handled by the local government. I don't know, going from house to house, because Pestac is a well-designed environment.
Yeah.
Go to individual doors and drop whatever you have as much as you can. I think that would be better rather than coming to an environment, bringing people together to come and start scrambling. Because Nigerians, whenever you are giving free something, people must scramble for it, and population will be much in such environment, which is what we are trying to avoid.
All right,
so that's just the scenario.
All right, Mr. Cosmos, Lagos is in Nigeria has the highest case of coronavirus. Right now, amongst you are in Lagos, what is the feeling amongst the people that actually perhaps this virus might be closer to you than you think? Is there any reaction to that?
No, you see, the truth of the matter is that for the fact that, for example, in Pestac where I stay, we have not gotten any case officially as announced by the government that is in Pestac here. So people are not really too scared or concerned. Because, for example, yesterday when I just decided to show out to see what is happening, I'm a publisher myself, I'm a pressman. So I went around in the evening to find out what is happening. I saw people still tossing around drinking beer in the small bars. You understand? So people are not really taking it, hard, because obviously it has not gotten to first pack yet. Probably by the time they hear now that 2-3 people have gotten in first pack, that's not everybody will sit up. You understand? But so I thank God they've been able to be obeying this. Lockdown. Everybody is at home. Sitting at home, not crowding the street like we used to know Lagos to be in those days.
Okay, between sharing food by the government and sharing money, which one is preferable?
To tell you the truth, I'm an economist. Government sharing money, it sounds good, but there are some other economic implications that one could trace it to. So, the sharing food, fine. If the government can...
Mr. Cosmos,
yes.
You talked about social distance.
Yes.
And people going to a buffet to eat. How distant is it? Somebody dishing you food, you don't know the status of that fellow. So, you are giving me food, I don't know your status. Whether you are positive with COVID-19, I collect the food from you to eat. And money paid into my account, which one is preferably better in this situation?
In all sense of sincerity, remitting money to people's account is the best bet because you don't have contact with anybody.
Good.
You understand? That is the best scenario.
Yes.
If the government can do it. But the question is that can the government do such a thing? Yeah, we read. I read on the news lots of billions were donated by well-meaning Nigerians. You understand? My fear is, and everybody fears, is that those money will still enter into private purse. You understand? That is the situation. Now, if we can have a total of about 60 billion, because you calculate whatever that we are having now, it's almost approaching that amount. If you have to feel that okay, let's help Nigeria, the poor masses, then start remitting, even if it's 100,000 in everybody's account. I mean, the money will still remain. Do you understand? The money will still remain for them to do whatever they are going to do. Yes. But now they are putting those money into government, into some private pocket. I have to tell you, all of us know what happens in this country. If you get what I mean. So the idea about remitting money to those accounts is the best bet. But I don't see that happening in a country like ours.
All right, Mr. Cosmos. Finally, you did mention, or can you categorically ascertain the fact that there is still some form of communal gatherings, because you did mention that people still go together to drink beer at local bars.
Yeah. I said so, and I stand by my point. Yeah. As at yesterday evening, I took my wife. I just said, let's take a stroll and see what is happening. Around the environment. And where we are going, we saw people, gathering, drinking beer in the front of some all these not well pronounced bars, and that kind of pocket of small drinking joints. They were there drinking beer. So
they were not maintaining any social distancing.
No, that wouldn't mean they are not maintaining. They are not maintaining. Why? Because it's just a few pockets of people. You understand me? Yeah. But the whole Festac as a town, as a community, is locked down. I have to tell you the truth. Because where I am now, I'm looking out through my window. There's no single car passing by, except maybe once in every 10 minutes you see one car. So I will say categorically that the lockdown is being observed.
But does it mean it gets relaxed at certain times of the day? Maybe like in the evening time?
Yes, that is now you are talking. What I observe as well is that towards evening, say anything from 6 o'clock to get relaxed. Then you now see lots of people coming out, activities going, but not as usual. Yeah. You still notice that there are some differences between now and in the past.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Cosmos, for that correspondence.
That's very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice having me on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
He did mention something about it's better you cash the money or you pay into people's accounts to avoid touching.
Yes.
But you would have to buy something.
Exactly. And someone had to sell something.
No, but again, even at that,
delivery at your door.
Even at that, it is less for you. Why I said this is this. Look at the social investment program, for instance. They gave people money to pay and feed schools children, and some of them end up taking the money, cooking different menu order from what the government asks to be cooked for them. Now, in this situation, if the Lagos state government decide to cook food on their own voluntarily, not from the money the government is giving them, is a different case. But when the government is giving you money to, give palliative for people, there are ways you do it. You have to pay into their account, pay into people's account. People knows what to buy to stock in their house and know how to keep social distance. Even if they are buying food, you can be with your glove, you can be with your mask, while you approach somebody selling something to you. So the difference is very clear. Than cooking food and asking me to come and eat. I don't know your status, and I just can't come closer to you. So it has to be account-based, since everybody have BVN. So if the government want to do it, let me tell you, apart from God, or aside God, government is the second most powerful institution that can do whatsoever they want to do anywhere in the world. If the government wants to tie bridge from here now down to Lagos, they can do it. If the government want to feed the whole nation, we have seen it in America.
They have the resources.
We have the resources.
And the political will to apply the resources.
It is the political bureaucracy.
You know,
we have the resources.
This statement was, sorry, it was made this morning. I was reading a news this morning by Vladimir Putin of Russia. He said Africa is in a position to feed the United States, the United Kingdom, the Asian nations, but that the problem is the leader.
Is the leader. Jimmy Carter also said it in 1989 here, that Nigeria is richer than the whole world. I just can't forget that statement. Up till now, despite that, people are crying because of our dependency on oil and trying to depend on World Bank, depend on foreign nations, foreign aid, and so on. When are we going to write our story?
All right. We are moving on. It's still the Situation Room. And right now, I don't think we are going to end this program without touching this very nerve. It's a nerve in Nigeria. And that is talking about religion. Churches, mosques, whatever gatherings. Africans are very spiritual beings. Nigerians are very spiritual beings. We can't do without our good old church, our God, our Jesus, our Muslim, our imams, our Muhammad, and all of that. And right now, COVID-19 is making it absolutely impossible for us to gather as a community. Now, we've seen some reactions. On the first time, we saw video clips of security going in to disperse worshippers in different places. We've seen reactions from some northern part of Nigeria where some people took to the street like, okay, rioting, why should you ask us not to do our Friday prayers and all of that. Now, putting all these things in perspective, don't you think religion is one of the most endangered species? Was going to suffer the most casualty in this COVID-19. Do you know why I say so? Because now, before now, a lot of people have placed their faith, hope, and stuff. I remember some Vox Pop were doing in the wake of this coronavirus. People will tell you, say, it's not for a child of God. I cast and bind and stuff, and they'll just pray. And pastors were calling for prayers, and everybody was calling for prayers. And to the point that the churches now have to close down. Meaning the prayers didn't work. So if at the end of the day, do you think there's still going to be much faith in the religious institutions? When all said and done, the deaths counted, the ravages on the economy and all of that, and then somebody now calls me to come to church and expect miracles and wave your hand and do stuff.
Whether after all this, people will still go to church and believe it or believe it. Why hasn't the pastors cast out COVID-19? Why haven't they done their miracles?
It on their Facebook page. Why are the pastors not going to hospital to heal COVID-19 patients?
No, you see, people are myopic, very, very myopic in this part of the world. Religiously, they are myopic. Religion itself has become the opium, like Karl Marx would say. The opium of the masses, something that is a scheme to be used when the need arises.
Not always.
Not always. That is why it is the opium. Now you find a way, to create either segregation, to buy your way and allow the people massively to follow you, or to create a tension or an unrest using belief or faith. If you look at the Western or the first world countries, they believe more in sciences, scientific innovations. And that is not to say that sciences didn't emanate from God. Even at that level, rights, human rights are being maintained for the atheists who don't even believe in God. In this climb, in Africa, apart from our tradition, we have also accepted the foreign, missionaries' message of the gospel.
Even our tradition is rooted in religion.
Our tradition is even more bona fide and powerful than the religion sold to us. If you look at the etiquettes and the tenets in our traditions, it's more biblical and more honored, respected by the average African than what you have today as Christian and Islam. While the Christian man will believe that whatsoever his prophet or his pastor says is final. The African man, the traditional man, does not think like that. That what you have said is final. It is not final. He will have to go home and, under the etiquette of the African tradition, to adjudge from within his heart whether what you said is in consonance with their tradition.
But they still do consultations.
They
consult gods, they consult oracles.
If you are talking about
oracles, are headed by a chief priest. It is like
it is
the
not
same thing with the Christian or the Islam. You have the imams, you have the pastors. You have
It
the
also has
fathers.
the
which
deities.
one would you rather believe? I believe in Christ. I get what I'm
I
saying.
believe in tradition as well.
I believe in my tradition come first.
Before Christ.
Because the tradition Christ brought to us is the tradition of the Israel. I am not an Israelite by nature, but since I have believed in Christ, I became an Israelite by faith of Christ.
Okay. Not by
Hold on.
affiliation now.
Not by affiliation, it's by faith.
Okay.
Church, mosque, Islam, atheism, Christianity, all are by faith.
All right, let's tie it down to COVID-19.
COVID.
So how is it going to affect all these belief systems, be it traditional, be it religious, be it whatever, whether you got it from an Ifa priest or Leku or something, or you got it from the Pastor Jesus. The thing is, COVID-19 is here and none of these things appear to have worked. Fasting and stuff have not worked. And even the church where you have to run to is closed down that you can't even access it. So now, at the end of the day, perhaps people are going to lose relatives to COVID-19.
Even the churches are donating now.
Even when they are donating.
They are donating to COVID-19 people.
Now, the question is, that trust, that belief that by his stripes I am healed. Now, as a child of God, nothing is going to happen to me, and I sit down and I start coughing. And
I was trying to go into that when you stopped me. You're talking about testing the healing power and the efficacy in the religion, whether those prophets they've been lying to us or not.
And you have prophecies every day.
And you have prophecies, especially when it comes to political terms. They have the prophesied.
Even in the ordinary.
And I said, the composition of human nature, the pastors and the imam, especially the pastors who believe that your body needs prayer other than medicine. That's why I say the opium. They use it to cajole people. God made man. Let's say God made man as we were meant to believe. Isn't it?
It is still going to my
now.
Is COVID-19 going to unravel all this to make you know that perhaps what the pastor really is telling you might not really, or what the
it's not what they are saying that is the truth. What the pastors are saying, they are talking about spirituality. And I said man has 3 dimensions through which he moves. He moves in the body. He moves in the spirit.
Let me put it to you directly. May, I'm asking you right now.
Okay.
Will you, at the end of the day, seeing what has come on us, seeing how even Reverend Fathers have been fallen victims, pastors, some have even died. Because there was a time I saw pictures of about 6 priests that died in Italy. And these are custodians of the faith.
Yes.
And then the COVID-19 came and struck them down. And then pastors dying and everybody is panicking. Church is closed down, mosque is closed down.
Because of one pandemic.
At the end of the day, are you still going to have that same trust, that same faith that, look, this is where I'm going to go to get this salvation? What is this salvation actually after?
Well, I am not one to be found in talks concerning this, but I will just try to brush on it. I think the first thing is, what did you pick? Did you pick religion or did you pick faith? That's the first thing. If you picked religion, then you had your trust in man, and man did not equip you to become a soldier of the kingdom of the person who your faith lies in, be it on the side of the Muslim or on the Christian. He made you a follower of his or hers. And that is why most times you become a pawn on the chessboard. They now tell you, move left, you move left, move right, you move right. Because you have failed to understand that it's a faith. It's something you have to agree deep inside you. Not something you have to follow someone. The person is supposed to lead you and teach you, okay, go out there and also be able to recruit people for a good cause, the good cause, the faith, the peace, and all that is attributed to all the religion that we keep fighting ourselves but still having the same agenda at heart. But when someone now recruits you, not for a bigger purpose, but for a particular purpose, the person confines you under a name. It's just like you being a supporter of Man United, not a football lover.
So in a nutshell,
Exactly.
COVID-19 is going to be a sort of an eye-opener.
For you to decide, because after this, you're going to decide what you believe in. Who do you believe in, and how do you connect to who you believe in?
So in a way, like, will it be right to say that religion is going to be a victim?
Well, if we follow Karl Marx, I think he made a statement that a time is coming where society will fail.
Yeah, of course.
And when society fails, even religion will fail.
When he said, apart from Karl Marx, apart from COVID-19, has there not been ailments that killed despite people praying?
But not on this grander scale.
Okay, this is a pandemic, a global pandemic now.
But
we have seen the revelation. Even God, I was trying to reach something that, look, you have a body. You have a body. And when people tell you, you are not, I prophesy. I've seen women, especially women, victims of this thing. They will just believe that, oh, I'm not going to hospital again. I'm not going to take my child to hospital. I'm not going to. You have body. You are in a state of matter. You move, you function, you have molecules, you have ions in your body. Your body is chemistry. And God made that body. And all the reactions to your body must be balanced. And God provides medicine, sciences, herbs, fruits, food. Why do you eat? In fact, why do you get tired and sleep at all? Why didn't you say, okay, I'm a spirit, and because I have faith, I'm a spirit, I should not sleep? But there comes a time you sleep, whether you like it or not. I get what I'm saying. So people have become so myopic in their knowledge, and that is what kills them. Even God said they die not because Satan kills them, they die because they lack knowledge and they refuse to study.
That's food for the soul.
Food for All right, we are getting places. This has been the Situation Room on Television Nigeria, and we have been looking critically at the situation in Nigeria and elsewhere in the world, what the COVID-19 has actually wrought on humanity right now. We just finished talking about religion. Maybe it's going to be one of the key victims of COVID-19. We also talked about the society. We also talked about reactions to situations. We also talk about being proactive rather than being reactive. It is an ongoing discussion. We are going to take a break now to bring you a recap of the news update. And when we come back, we'll talk some more, perhaps take some more calls from the street. It's still Situation Room. Please don't go anywhere. Join us again after this. Here are some news updates at this time for Wednesday, the first day of April 2020. Nigeria has recorded 4 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 139. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, said 3 of the cases were from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, while 1 case was recorded in Lagos State, making it a total of 139 confirmed cases in Nigeria, with 9 victims discharged and 2 recorded fatalities. So far, Lagos State has recorded 82 cases, Federal Capital Territory has 28 cases, Oyo State has 8 cases, Osun State 5, Ogun State 4, Kaduna State 3 cases, Edo, Enugu and Bauchi states have 2 cases each, while Ekiti, Rivers and Benue State have 1 case of the virus each. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, said COVID-19 disease outbreak has roundly exposed the weakness of Nigeria's health system. The Speaker, while commending the efforts of the federal government in both managing the outbreak and alleviating the adverse economic and social impact on all citizens, further stated that the country must develop a system to withstand health crisis the way it occurs in the future. The Speaker, while commending the efforts of the federal government in both managing the outbreak and alleviating the adverse economic and social impact on the citizens, further stated that the country must develop a system to withstand health crises that might occur in the future. Gbajabiamila said that the lawmakers, in every way they could, would continue to support the efforts to ensure that Nigerians make it through the difficult time with dignity and peace of mind, and announced the readiness of the lower chambers to give up its 2 months' pay in support of the fight against the further spread of the coronavirus. The United Nations in Nigeria on Tuesday declared that it is taking emergency preparedness and response measures to mitigate the spread of coronavirus to the most vulnerable crisis-affected people in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. The United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Edward Callon, stated that the measures are to address immediate humanitarian consequences of the coronavirus pandemic should it spread to the northeast Nigeria. He further stated that the agency's priority is to ensure the continuous delivery of life-saving assistance, especially health services, to the most vulnerable women, children, and the elderly who need special attention, having already suffered from the decade-long conflict in the troubled region. In a bid to further contain the spread of the COVID-19, the federal government said it had concluded arrangements to convert tuberculosis diagnostic machines in the country to coronavirus detecting machines as retired health workers recalled by the federal government to assist in combating the disease reported for duties. Minister of Health Osage Ehanire, who made this known at a press briefing held by the Presidential Task Force on Coronavirus to update the nation of the state of coronavirus outbreak in the country, said the 300 gene expert machines used for tuberculosis will be converted to testing COVID-19 detection. Government action came following the increasing number of persons infected with the virus, currently put at 139, while the gene expert machines were expected to be put to use within the next 2 to 3 weeks. The minister further revealed that the Center for Disease Control has engaged hundreds of ad hoc staff to support call centers, contact tracing, and laboratory work, adding that preparations were in full gear for about 1,000 beds in Abuja to be used immediately as isolation centers if the need arises. Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has suspended the payment of the new electricity tariffs earlier scheduled to take off from the first day of April, citing poor electricity supply, wide metering gap, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The Commission stated that from the public hearings conducted prior to the tariff review, it was obvious that the electricity end users of the 11 distribution companies were willing to pay appropriate rates for services rendered by the DISCOs. The Commission said the willingness of customers to pay do not depend on improvement promises by the DISCOs that were never implemented in previous tariffs review, where the end-use customers had voiced their dissatisfaction with the quality of services provided by the DISCOs and the practice of estimated and sometimes arbitrary billing. NEC also noted that the global COVID-19 had significantly impacted on the availability of imported components for local assembly of meters for supply to end-use customers under the Commission's meter asset provider regulations and rollout plans for the existing stock, and the adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the global economy and the average Nigerian. That's the news update at this time. Thanks for watching. I am Charles Ibe.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in his State of the Nation address, declared a total lockdown of the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos, and Ogun states in the bid to contain the further spread of the COVID-19, which has currently infected not less than 111 Nigerians. Going by this order, people are expected to stay at home. Now, even the Inspector General of Police has raised concerns about the security implications of having people to stay off jobs and idle for a very long time. Made an address to the nation declaring a total lockdown by 11 p.m. this evening due to the coronavirus spread. So, the total lockdown is going to stop the spread, according to the president. So nobody walks about. As an initial period of 14 days. Within this 14 days, as a hustler, that you are.
Yeah, hustler.
Are you hustlers?
I'm a hustler.
What exactly?
I'm a printer.
What exactly is your opinion about this total lockdown?
Our president that is number, I swear to God, when I fuck, he don't do what he say, but go make street boys, but enter people house, but who go feel knock anybody down. I swear, he don't really do Jonesy matter. So, help us like this. Help us. But we will see our 10 like this now. They carry sustain. We are daily boys, so daily money now they collect. As we work now, so they collect the money. So like this number, I swear to God, but may they open the market first, move just for also. So the corona master, we know they say anybody where they catch one. I do work out freely.
Imagine.
I do work out freely. No, I don't see anybody where don't catch. We see they say I see person they catch. I don't see anybody. So like this number, now we know they also again. Past 5 days now, I know how much I don't withdraw from my account. So I'm more the corona about me catch everybody. No concern me. So we know they see anybody.
All right, I want to find out from you what's going to happen to the state of security. Are the shops going to be safe?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the president's sensitivity towards preventing the exacerbation of the COVID-19 dreaded pandemic. But with respect to what is at stake now, what is being revealed, these security measures, restrictions and controls are no longer necessary because a cure has been found for COVID-19. It may sound a little bit idealistic and philosophical, but that's a fact. And we've been spreading the news everywhere. Since 27th of March, God released the cure for COVID-19 to the whole world through the servant DUE furniture of Worldly Church of the Universe. And if you can Google youtube.com/EarthHeavenTV, that is Earth we're living in, Earth Heaven TV. We go to that television platform, you see all other videos. Look for the video Cure for Coronavirus Part 2 or Part 1. Watch the video. I want the president and all security affiliated platforms, outfits of this nation to take note. This country has been freed by God Almighty. So the restrictions are okay, but is engendered by ignorance. Now we're releasing the truth and knowledge to the nation. They should go and listen to that video and find out what God says the cure. God actually said that the cure to COVID-19 is vitamin C. It's very surreal, very idealistic, very unbelievable. It's vitamin C because God is a simple God, and because vitamin C is one of the cheapest drugs in the market, and because one of the drugs that has the least side effect, if any, on human cells. So I don't want to preempt you. Go and watch the whole video. And if you have any patient that is COVID infected, go and test it. If it doesn't work, our address is there. You can come and arrest us and incarcerate us peacefully. But for goodness sake, we're trying to do what God has commanded us to do. If this doesn't get to everyone, then we are failing God, failing Nigeria, and failing humanity. Nigeria is actually blessed. It is from this nation that God has released the cure to COVID-19. Go to YouTube, type Earth Heaven Television. Earth Heaven Television.
All right, okay, wait a minute. It's amazing that you are telling me here now that there is a cure. Definitely. You said that the cure is vitamin C. Vitamin C. Is that why you're not putting on a mask?
I don't have to put it on a mask. That's part of the reasons. Basically, why I'm not putting it on my house. And the basic reason is because I'm insured aboriginally by truth. I'm a New Jerusalemites, never been infected or afraid of COVID-19, but it's affecting me in a way because my friends are affected and because my business is definitely affected one way or the other. And that is why we are moving on to several media houses. And we appreciate the work that Television Nigerian is doing. And I think they are fated to be one of the most favored television houses in Nigeria to be covering this firsthand, because you are one of the live television houses we are speaking to with respect to this cure. So that means you are actually positioned divinely to play an important role in the dissemination of this great cure from above. So once again, Television Nigerian, we appreciate what you're doing, and we believe that through you, all the media houses and especially the presidency will have access to this. And this is not politics or playing to the gallery. What we're saying is go and put it to the test. Please get across to NCDC immediately. Let them go and put the cure that God has released to test. And if it doesn't work, they will know there is a need for, you can equally arrest us, or there is a need for the security measures to be put in place.
So you're very confident about this vitamin C. This vitamin C, we have different sources of vitamin C.
Yes, yes.
Are you talking about the ascorbic acid or the citric acid, or which form of vitamin C?
Acid, the simple vitamin C that is sold in any pharmacy shop. From our little fundamental knowledge of medicine, that ascorbic vitamin C is one of the drugs with the least tendency for side effect on the body.
It's a difficult situation for Nigerians to actually take the 14 days total lockdown. Some of the opinion that their property will not be safe. Others are of the opinion that the life comes first. It's a difficult situation that you can hear the reactions of Nigerians concerning the presidential promulgation yesterday. You can please drop your comments as much as you can, reacting whether or not the security is guaranteed during the period of the lockdown.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying tuned. It is still the Situation Room, and we have been looking at COVID-19 in Nigeria, COVID-19 in America, COVID-19 all over the world. COVID-19 has taken over. For now, that is the most popular, should I say notorious name.
It's the trending name that's on everybody's lips.
It's on everybody's lips.
It's not in everybody's system.
Even a little boy, a little girl now talk about COVID-19.
No politics anymore.
No politics. And it is so powerful.
Yeah.
Microorganism shutting down the almighty Premier League.
Shutting down the universe.
Shutting down the 100,000 capacity auditorium, churches, mosques.
Is it
shutting down places of enjoyment and I mean,
it's a pandemic. And it's usually like that, because if it comes, it is as a result of something. Maybe we just have to talk about the conspiracy tomorrow.
Well, there's so much to talk about.
Yes, there's so much to talk about.
There's so much, and there are so many situations to analyze. And you can get a more in-depth analysis elsewhere rather than on this platform, the Situation Room Television Nigerian. So we would advise, we would ask you to keep a date with us. 12 p.m. tomorrow, the Situation Room opens again. And perhaps we might look at some conspiracies. How did it actually start? What really is COVID-19? Is it a biological weapon? Is it in your system? Is it from the moon? Stay tuned tomorrow. 12 p.m. Television Nigerian. See you again. Thank you very much for watching. I am Charles Ibe, and I have been talking with
Daniel Atai
and May 11.
Thank you very much.
And it's been a pleasure also having you on board. Let's do this again tomorrow.
Bye.
See you. Bye.